Chapter 630. Originally, when these three immortals approached Xiaofan's location, Xiaofan was overjoyed. He wanted to use his lightning-fast methods to kill them and obtain the points and power of refinement he needed. But he discovered that two of the three immortals were his friends. Among the immortals who descended to Xiaofan's plane, a portion of them had always been on good terms with Xiaofan. Needless to say, Jialanzi, Tiamizi, Su Huizi, Shi Yangzi, and other immortals also got along well with Xiaofan. Now, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi were also Xiaofan's friends. Xiaofan slightly restrained his killing intent. Naturally, he would not kill his friends for points and power of refinement. On the contrary, Xiaofan was happy to meet his old friends in the fourth region. However, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi were actually together with Fairy Xia. This was thought-provoking. Fairy Xia. This female immortal and her husband conspired to use all kinds of despicable methods. They did not hesitate to sacrifice their bodies to lure immortals into their trap. Then, they let the husband and wife kill each other. Heh! What a coincidence, I just happened to eavesdrop on their plan. Xiaofan smiled coldly. At the same time, Xiaofan's mental fluctuation became more concentrated. It enveloped Yu Yangzi and the other two immortals, and he clearly heard their conversation. Fairy Xia, thank you. At this moment, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi looked at Fairy Xia with slight gratitude. Big brothers, no need to be so polite. Fairy Xia smiled sweetly and said softly. Now, the game in the fourth region has already reached the most critical moment. It had already reached the most crucial moment. It is simply at a white-hot stage. If you two don't join some teams, I'm afraid. But don't worry, my husband has already gathered a group of like-minded immortals and formed a team to fight against the other teams of immortals. Now, I solemnly invite you two to join me and my husband's team. Fairy Xia's words were indeed delicate and gentle. There was even a hint of tenderness in them that made it difficult for people to resist. Inadvertently, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi looked at Xia Fairy with fascination. Xia Fairy saw the attitudes of Yu Yangzi and He Heizi. An imperceptible killing intent flashed through her pure eyes. Then, she said coquettishly. Big brothers, your immortal energy is strong. In the future, we will be a team. I hope that the two of you can help me at the critical moment. You have to protect this little sister. This little sister will definitely repay the two big brothers. This young and tender voice, coupled with her charming facial features and skin that was as smooth as white jade, was indeed very charming. She's really treacherous. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to guard against such an act. Xiaofan saw everything. Looks like brother Yu Yangzi and brother Heizi have completely trusted this B***tch. However, if I didn't eavesdrop on the conversation between Fairy Xia and her husband, and if I didn't sense her subtle emotional fluctuations through her psyche waves, I'm afraid I would have fallen into her trap. Now, this B***tch clearly wants to lead brother Yu Yangzi and brother Heizi into a trap and kill them secretly, but, since I've encountered this, why don't I beat her at her own game? Suddenly, an idea flashed in Xiaofan's mind. Kill this bitch and her husband. Plunder points and magic treasures, and refine them. In the short span of a few breaths, Xiaofan used this sudden inspiration in his mind to form a plan. Beat her at her own game. At the same time, Yu Yangzi, He Heizi, and Xia Fairy had already discovered Xiaofan. Big brothers. There seems to be the aura of a lone person ahead. Xia Fairy said in surprise. Indeed. But, it seems to be the aura of a mortal, not an immortal. Yu Yangzi frowned. This is strange. In the 4th district, where tens of thousands of immortals are competing, why would a mortal appear? Wait. It seems to be brother Xiaofan. He Heizi's eyes lit up. It seems to be Brother Xiaofan's aura. Suddenly, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi's eyes lit up, filled with an extremely complicated emotion. Then, they quickly walked in Xiaofan's direction. Wuxia Fairy was puzzled. She followed closely behind and kept talking. Mortal? Xiaofan? Big brothers, this. It should be Xiaofan, a mortal friend we met when we descended, Yu Yangzi said fervently. Wuxia, don't look down on brother Xiaofan. Although he's a mortal, his miraculousness is not inferior to us immortals. We admire his various methods. Even big brother Jia Lanzi sincerely admires brother Xiaofan. Yes, brother Xiaofan will become an immortal sooner or later. His future development in the immortal world will be like a rainbow, and his future will be limitless. He Heizi said with a serious face. For some reason, when Xiaofan was mentioned, the two immortals, Yu Yangzi and He Heizi's bad luck was swept away, and their faces revealed proud expressions. Wuxia Fairy said calmly. Yes, I believe you two big brothers. Then, please introduce me to the outstanding talent among the mortals, Xiaofan. Xiaofan was also waiting to reunite with an old friend. Thus, he stood motionless, and a smile appeared on his face. This smile came from the heart. Soon, Yu Yangzi, He Heizi, and Wuxia Fairy walked towards Xiaofan. Ha 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 ha. Brother Xiaofan. Yu Yangzi and He Heizi suddenly laughed out loud. Then, their figures flashed, and they appeared next to Xiaofan. The three looked at each other and laughed. Yu Yangzi and He Heizi did not have any fear towards Xiaofan. They were extremely sincere. And it was the same for Xiaofan. In this game where lives were easily lost, where immortals killed each other, and where they schemed against each other, to be able to meet an old friend was indeed a shocking thing. Big brothers, how are you doing in the fourth region? Xiaofan asked, slightly excited. This. Yu Yangzi and He Heizi exchanged glances. In their eyes, there was also a look of resentment. Xiaofan looked at their expressions. He saw the points above Yu Yangzi's head. It was only 1,700 points, and He Heizi only 2,100 points. Up to now, with such points, they could barely survive in the fourth region. Looking at their expressions, Xiaofan did not need to think to know. Their situation must be very miserable. They must have been hunted down everywhere, and they must have suffered some humiliation. Hiss. Brother Xiaofan, your points. Suddenly, Yu Yangzi raised his head and saw Xiaofan's points. He was so shocked that his jaw dropped, 38,328 points. Brother Xiaofan, this is too terrifying. You actually obtained such a huge number of points in this region filled with immortals. You. He Heizi was also completely in disbelief. Fairy Wuxia's eyes were wide open. An unconcealable greed swept across her eyes. Her heart was trembling. Close to 40,000 points. With such points, he might not be in the top 100 in the entire fourth region, but he would at least be in the top 300. In other words, the number of Dharma treasures in his body is also close to 400. Wealth. This guy is a moving treasure trove. As long as I kill him, then. Fairy Wuxia was so excited that she felt dizzy. She tried her best to control herself. She put on a gentle and kind expression and walked directly towards Xiaofan. Oh, you must be my little friend Xiaofan. You are indeed handsome, a dragon among men. Just now, I heard Yu Yangzi and He Heizi praise you. Heh. A charming look was cast towards Xiaofan. Oh. Xiaofan deliberately pretended to be confused. You are? This Fairy Wuxia was clearly doing better than Yu Yangzi and He Heizi. She also had 9,500 points. This bitch's points are close to 10,000. I'm afraid her man's points are even higher. I'll kill this immortal world's adulterous couple and earn a lot. It's also a good thing. Xiaohan's heart was also filled with killing intent. Oh, you can call me Xia, Fairy Xia said tenderly. Hello, Xia. Xiaofan was also extremely friendly. Both of them had their own ulterior motives, but their expressions were extremely polite, as if they respected each other. After a pause, Xiaofan looked at Yu Yangzi and He again. Brothers, how many of the immortals that descended to my plane have entered the fourth region? Yu Yangzi gritted his teeth. Brother Xiaofan, in fact, it should only be me, brother He and Su Huizi. The three of us entered the fourth region. Brother Jia Lanzi and the others should be in other regions. Su Huizi? Xiaohan asked curiously. Then where is brother Su Huizi now? Toward Su Huizi, Xiaohan was extremely respectful. Back then, when Su Huizi came to Xiaohan's plane, he didn't use his status to bully the mortals. Instead, he treated the mortals' illnesses in the Western Barren Lands and gave them many benefits. Who wouldn't respect such an immortal? Compared to the likes of the Son of Heaven and the Son of Spectre, his character was much more noble. Where is big brother Su Huizi? Xiaohan blurted out. Now, with the addition of big brother Su Huizi, we can form a small team and trust each other. Ha ha ha. Unexpectedly, brother Xiaohan. Yu Yangzi and He's faces dimmed. Their eyes were filled with rage and hatred. Su Huizi was originally with us in Burrow 4. The three of us were a small team. However, Su Huizi was killed 3 days ago. He died. What? Hearing this, Xiaohan's body shook, and then he became furious. Big brother Su Huizi died? This. Big brother Su Huizi has always been a kind person, I didn't think. Xiaohan quickly calmed down. Who did it? Big brothers, did you too avenge big brother Su Huizi? I'm afraid we won't be able to get revenge, Yu Yangzi cried bitterly. It was Son of Stars and his men. Master Xing Qinzi's faction is enormous, and he's gathered nearly 100 immortals to hunt down weaker immortal factions. A few days ago, the three of us ran into a squad of 15 immortals under Master Xing Qinzi's command. They surrounded us and tried to kill us. In the end, Su Huizi was killed in order to protect the two of us. One of Master Xing Qinzi's subordinates beheaded him with a single slash. Son of Stars. Xiaohan's eyes were filled with killing intent. Big brother Su Huizi, don't worry. I, Xiaohan, will definitely avenge you. To be continued. Chapter 631. To Xiaohan, Su Huizi's death was like a bolt from the blue. Xiaohan had long since considered Jia Lanzi, Taotai, Su Huizi, and the other kind-hearted immortals his friends. How could Xiaohan not be filled with righteous indignation when he heard that his friend had died a horrible death? However, Xiaohan wasn't impulsive. He quickly regained his composure. For some unknown reason, after reuniting with Xiaohan, Yu Yangzi and He felt as if they had found a lighthouse, their backbone, and even some spiritual support. This was very strange. How could immortals have such a reverent attitude toward mortals? Even Yu Yangzi and He couldn't explain it. They all felt that as long as they stayed by Xiaohan's side, they would be able to overcome this obstacle. This was probably because Xiaohan had single-handedly contended with Sun Firmament, Child Netherspirit, and the other extraordinary immortals without being at a disadvantage. Even Yu Yangzi and the other immortals admired him. Little friend Xiaohan, you don't have to take it to heart. In this game, if you don't kill others, others will kill you. The strong will kill the weak. It's survival of the fittest. There's no need to be sad. Fairy Xia pretended to console him. You're right, but it was my friend who was killed. Of course I'm angry, and I'll avenge him, Xiaohan said coldly. Fairy Wuxia choked on Xiaofan's words. An imperceptible malice flashed through her eyes, then she smiled. Little friend Xiaofan, you're really loyal. Loyal and loyal. But Sun Xingqunzi's forces are enormous. He has elite troops and he himself has more than 100,000 points. He's even refined a magic treasure. Little friend Xiaofan, it'll be very difficult for you to avenge Su Huizi. You must take your time to think. Hearing this, Xiaofan knew that Fairy Wuxia was definitely trying to lure him to her husband and then kill him. However, Xiaofan didn't bat an eyelid. Oh. Take my time to think? What should we do about it? Wuxia Fairy sorted out her thoughts and said with a straight face. Xiaofan, young friend, Bai Xiaochun said, a large number of immortals have perished in the fourth realm. Originally, there were close to 40,000 immortals, but now there are only a few thousand left. There were definitely no lone immortals. The Son of the Stars was strong not because he himself was strong, but because he formed an extremely strong team. I heard that Master Xingqundi has a total of 99 immortals working for him. Including him, that's a total of 100. Apparently, they're going to kill all of the other immortals in the fourth region. Well, there's no way we're going to just sit around and let Master Xingqundi kill us. We have to join forces too. Wuxia Fairy used her glib tongue to trick Xiaofan. Why was Su Huizi killed? It was because the team was too weak. In other words, Yu Yangzi, He Zi, and Su Huizi had formed a small team. Such a small team could easily be surrounded and killed by other large teams. Previously, I've already tried to persuade Big Brother Yu Yangzi and Big Brother Heizi. They've agreed to join my team. Let's work together and trust each other to fight against the insane Son of Stars. Oh. Wuxia, your team? Xiaofan asked with a smile. What team? Brother Xiaofan, sister Wuxia and her husband, Heng Shanzi, have formed a team. She invited us to join them, and we agreed, Yu Yangzi said to Xiaofan, a hint of helplessness in his voice. At the same time, He Zi sent a soul transmission to Xiaofan. Brother Xiaofan, there's nothing we can do. The current situation is beyond our control. If we don't join the team, we'll die for sure. We've met Fairy Wuxia and her husband, Heng Shanzi, once in the immortal world, so we can be considered friends. Moreover, they haven't done anything bad in the immortal world, so we can probably trust them. Alas, it's a lie to say that we can trust them completely in this situation. But we have no choice but to take a gamble. Big Brother He Zi, I understand what you mean. Xiaofan hastily sent a soul transmission to He Zi. Leave this to me. We can temporarily join this couple's team. We'll take action as we see fit. If anything goes wrong, we'll immediately take some emergency measures. Alright, Brother Xiaofan. You're wise and resourceful. I'll leave everything to you. Yu Yangzi and I will follow your lead, He Zi agreed. Xiaofan didn't tell his plan to He Zi and Yu Yangzi yet. Fairy Wuxia, Xiaofan pretended to ponder as he lifted his head to look at Fairy Wuxia. How many people do you have in your team? Including us, husband and wife, we have 8. But if little friend Xiaofan, Big Brother Yu Yangzi, and Big Brother He Zi join the team, then we'll have a total of 11 people, Fairy Wuxia said hastily. A team of 11 might not be enough to crush the other teams, but it's more than enough to protect ourselves. Furthermore, my wife and I will use our connections to unite the other immortals in District 4, so that our team will continue to grow stronger. If that's the case. Xiaofan didn't agree immediately. Instead, he pretended to be racking his brains to weigh the pros and cons. We'll listen to Brother Xiaofan. Brother Xiaofan's idea is the same as mine and He Zi's. Yu Yangzi said without hesitation. Fairy Wuxia was stunned. She looked at Xiaofan suspiciously. She was puzzled. This mortal is too strange. He actually made two immortals admire him so much and listen to him. However, his points are abundant. Could it be that he has some extraordinary means or some powerful offensive celestial artifact? Thinking of this, Fairy Wuxia asked in a seemingly unintentional manner. Little friend Xiaofan, looking at your points, you must have slaughtered hundreds of immortals. I'm really impressed. Does Brother Xiao have a powerful immortal weapon to help you? Oh. Points? Xiaofan pretended to be ignorant. Speaking of these points, I'm ashamed. Yesterday, I encountered an immortal who was on the verge of death. He had tens of thousands of points above his head, and he was on his last breath. I caught him off guard and killed him with a sneak attack. I plundered a large number of points. This is also luck. As for immortal weapons, I don't have any. After all, I'm just a mortal. Even if I had immortal weapons, I wouldn't be able to use them to kill immortals. I see. Fairy Wuxia nodded. Her doubts were dispelled, and she spoke earnestly. Little friend Xiaofan, you don't have to worry about anything. If the three of you act alone, I'm afraid, sooner or later, you'll become meat on the chopping block. It's better to cooperate. Don't worry, Xiaofan, my young friend. You can trust us. You can ask Yu Yangzi and Black and White. When we were in the immortal world, we always followed the rules and didn't do anything outrageous, Wuxia Fairy said solemnly after a pause. Besides, you're all Brother Jia Lanzi's friends. In the immortal world, Brother Jia Lanzi is a big shot that we can't afford to offend. Yes. With Brother Jia Lanzi as our backer, we don't have to worry about anything. Xiaofan pretended to be happy. But in his heart, he sneered. At a time like this, Brother Jia Lanzi's name is not enough. Do you think I don't know about this? Good. The three of us will join Fairy Wuxia's team. Let's work together. Fight to the death with that traitor Xingqinzi. Fight to the end. Xiaofan said with great passion. Yes. Fairy Wuxia nodded. But in her heart, she was full of disdain. Just a fledgling. Ha ha ha. What do you mean by working together? How stupid. You're all fat sheep, pigs and dogs that my husband and I have raised. After we fatten you up, we'll slaughter you and take your points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. Especially this mortal Xiaofan. He has tens of thousands of points and hundreds of Dharma treasures. Really? I can't help but want to kill him now. Then, let's hurry up. About a few hundred miles away is where our team is stationed. It's also very secretive, Fairy Wuxia said hurriedly. Okay. Xiaofan nodded. Then, they flew at a low altitude toward the east. If we encounter other teams along the way, don't fight with them. After all, there are only 4 of us. If we fight, we'll be at a disadvantage. Let's meet up with my husband first, then come out to hunt those smaller teams, Fairy Wuxia ordered. Okay, Fairy Wuxia, we'll do as you say. Xiaofan didn't object. The 3 immortals and 1 person flew quickly. During the flight, Xiaofan didn't use the boots of divine speed. Instead, he deliberately used his true qi to fly. Therefore, his flying speed was extremely slow. In the end, it was Black and White who carried him. Fairy Wuxia was full of disdain. In her heart, she was even more certain that Xiaofan was just lucky enough to kill a dying immortal with a lot of points. You guys, my husband and I will eat you up. Fairy Wuxia's mouth twitched into a cold smile. The 4 of them flew for hundreds of miles, but they didn't encounter any other teams of immortals along the way. Soon, a huge volcano appeared in front of the 4 of them. My husband and the other immortals are at the foot of this volcano, Fairy Wuxia said with a smile. At the same time, Fairy Wuxia immediately used a special voice transmission technique to send a message to her husband. Big brother, I've tricked 2 immortals and a mortal. That mortal is a fat sheep with tens of thousands of points. However, we can make use of them first. Let them fight with other teams of immortals, and then we'll take the opportunity to kill them. It's killing two birds with one stone. Ha ha ha. Sister, you're so smart. Fairy Wuxia's husband, Heng Shanzi, immediately replied. The next moment. Whoosh! 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 Several beams of immortal light shot up from the foot of the volcano. There were 7 immortals lined up in a row. The leader of the group was handsome and elegant, with 15,000 points above his head. He was Fairy Wuxia's husband, Heng Shanzi. Ha ha ha. I'm Heng Shanzi. Welcome to our team, friends. Heng Shanzi laughed loudly. His eyes swept around and finally stopped on Xiaofan. The muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched involuntarily. A strong sense of greed flashed in his eyes. Chapter 632. Xiaofan followed the snake and scorpion immortal and Fairy Wuxia to the side of a volcano and met up with Fairy Wuxia's husband, Heng Shanzi. Heng Shanzi also recruited a few immortals and formed a team. At this moment, Xiaofan saw 15,000 points above Heng Shanzi's head and over 100 Dharma treasures floating in his dantian. Moreover, Xiaofan could clearly see that the refining power inside Heng Shanzi's body was continuously attacking one of the offensive Dharma treasures, the golden dragon scissors. Xiaofan released his mind power and immortal will to carefully observe the golden dragon scissors. Soon, Xiaofan knew that once this offensive Dharma treasure was refined, it could easily kill a level 3 true immortal at his peak. It could even kill an ordinary level 4 true immortal. It was indeed a very terrifying Dharma treasure. However, the immortal will restriction on the surface of the golden dragon scissors had been refined by about half. The remaining half required more refining power to attack. Moreover, Heng Shanzi only focused on refining the golden dragon scissors and didn't touch the other 100 Dharma treasures for the time being. First, he would refine the golden Wirm scissors for himself. Then, he would consider refining other Dharma treasures. This was the way of the king. Xiaofan also scanned the other Dharma treasures in Heng Shanzi's dantian. Most of them were useless. Only a few of them were of good quality, but they weren't very useful to Xiaofan. There were 6 other immortals under Heng Shanzi's command. Each of them had thousands of points and dozens of Dharma treasures. Xiaofan quickly scanned them. Oh! Xiaofan soon discovered that among the 6 immortals, one of them, a square-faced immortal, had completely refined a magic treasure. The Eye of the Divine Eagle. This Dharma treasure was an auxiliary Dharma treasure that could increase the range of detection. In the 4th region, any immortal celestial sense could only scan a few kilometers. Even Xiaofan, whose mind power was comparable to an immortal's, could only scan a few kilometers. However, the Eye of the Divine Eagle refined by this immortal with a square face could expand the detection range to about 20 kilometers. This was incredible. In such a dangerous situation where one could easily die in a life-and-death battle, being able to detect an inch more than the other competitors was an advantage. One more chance of survival. Impressive, this supportive Eye of the Divine Eagle is even more powerful than some offensive celestial artifacts. Xiaofan could not help but lick his lips. Then, he continued to survey. Suddenly, Xiaofan found a bottle of pills in the dantian of a pointy-faced immortal. Supreme Battle Will Pill. This bottle of Supreme Battle Will Pill was actually a divine medicine that could strengthen the mind and soul. This. Xiaofan was even more shocked. One should know that Xiaohan's mental energy cultivation had already reached a bottleneck, and it was difficult for him to advance even an inch. Previously, Xiaofan had wanted to search for an elixir that could improve his mental energy and soul, but he had been searching everywhere to no avail. But now, he had unintentionally found a miracle medicine for mental strength here. Great! That was great! I want to kill these immortals. Plundering their points, refining power, and Dharma treasures. Snatch the divine eagle's eye and the bottle of supreme battle will pills. Xiaofan felt an itch in his heart. However, he forcefully restrained himself and maintained a polite expression on his face. Immortal Heng Shanzi, nice to meet you. We're here to seek refuge with you, Immortal Heng Shanzi. Thank you for your hospitality. Heng Shanzi and his subordinates stared greedily at the points above Xiaohan's head. Of course, they could not see through Xiaohan's dantian and could not see what kind of Dharma treasures were in his dantian. However, judging from the points, the number of Dharma treasures in Xiaohan's dantian was close to 400. 400 Dharma treasures. That was terrifying. Wuxia is so capable. I can't believe she found such a fat pig. TSK, as long as I kill this little mortal, my points will soar to the top 200 in the 4th region, right? Heng Shanzi's heart trembled. However, now was not the time to fight. Heng Shanzi's face was as smooth as jade, and he was elegant and graceful. It's fine. Don't stand on ceremony, everyone. Right now, Xingqianzi is the biggest tumor in the 4th region. We should band together against a common enemy and deal with him. After a pause, Heng Shanzi squeezed out a warm smile and looked at He Heizi and Yu Yangzi. Brothers. We even drank together during the great sect competition in the immortal world. Do the two of you still remember? Yes, brother Heng Shanzi, you're even more graceful than before, He Heizi said with a smile. Moreover, you and Xiaofan are very famous among the younger generation of the immortal world, ha 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 ha. Well said, Heng Shanzi laughed heartily. Let's go to the place where we're staying. It's on the side of the volcano. Let's go, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a group of people descended. At the foot of the volcano, a simple village was built. Green vines coiled around the trees. The vines were lush, and the trees were green with flowers. The scenery was also very tranquil. Some wooden houses were built in the middle of the village. It's so comfortable here, Xiaohan said sincerely as he looked around. Ha ha ha, little brother Xiaohan, this place was built by you and your wife, Heng Shanzi said with a smile. Then, he and Xiaofan looked at each other and laughed. Their smiles were very subtle, and the hidden meaning behind them was unfathomable. Then, let's rest here today. Tomorrow, we'll go hunting together and kill those small teams to gain points, Dharma treasures, and refining power, Heng Shanzi ordered casually. Xiaohan said deliberately. Immortal Heng Shanzi, Xiaofan, immortals, I also have some concerns, oh. Heng Shanzi frowned. Little brother Xiaohan, what concerns do you have? Can you tell us so that we can study it together? Immortal Heng Shanzi, Xingqianzi is very powerful. He has nearly 100 immortals under him. Moreover, Xingqianzi himself seems to have refined an extremely terrifying offensive Dharma treasure. Xiaohan pretended to be afraid. Well, I'll tell you the truth. Immortal Heng Shanzi, our team only has a dozen people. How can we fight against Xingqianzi's team? Not to mention Xingqianzi's team, I'm afraid that we can't even fight against some of the more powerful teams. Oh. Heng Shanzi glanced at Xiaohan and laughed out loud. Little brother Xiaohan, it's normal for you to have such worries. However, this brother will reveal something to brother Xiao. After a pause, Heng Shanzi's face was full of confidence. He glanced disdainfully at black and white Yu Yangzi, and the immortals behind him. I, Heng Shanzi, am currently refining an offensive Dharma treasure in my dantian. All the refinement power I've obtained has been used to refine this Dharma treasure, and I'm almost done with it. The power of this Dharma treasure is enough to kill level 3 or 4 true immortals. Once I control this Dharma treasure, I won't be too afraid of Xingqianzi or other immortals. Also, Brother Shanzi has refined a scouting auxiliary Dharma treasure that can predict the enemy's moves. Heng Shanzi looked at the square-faced immortal who had refined the divine eagle's eye in his body. Ha ha ha. I'm not that talented, but I've refined an auxiliary Dharma treasure that has a wide scouting range. This way, we can compete with each other in every aspect. The square-faced immortal said proudly. Let's put it this way. In the entire fourth region, even Xingqianzi's celestial sense can't cover as far as mine. Although we're not as strong as Xingqianzi, we can predict the enemy's movements in advance. Once we notice Xingqianzi's team approaching us, we can retreat in advance. In other words, although we're not strong enough to fight Xingqianzi and his huge teams, we don't have to worry about being surrounded and killed. Moreover, we have an advantage in hunting other teams. Everyone, as long as each of us can successfully refine a Dharma treasure, Xingqianzi won't be a threat at all. Heng Shanzi said ambitiously. Ah. I see. I see. Xiaofan pretended to be enlightened. Now, through observation and probing, Xiaofan had already figured out the situation of Heng Shanzi's team. Alright, little brother Xiaofan, let's have a good rest today and conserve our energy. Tomorrow, we'll hunt. Heng Shanzi ordered. Yes, Xiaofan replied obediently. Brother Shanzi, thank you for your hard work. Please pay more attention and observe the surroundings. Once there are any changes, we'll retreat immediately, Heng Shanzi instructed the square-faced immortal. Big brother Heng Shanzi, don't worry. Shan Shanzi smiled confidently and floated in the air with his legs crossed. A divine eagle totem flashed between his brows. His eyes became misty and deep. He scanned the surroundings as if he could see through the void and discover the truth. Big brother Fish Arm, big brother Hey by Z, let's catch up. Xiaofan quietly went to a simple wooden hut with Fish Arm and Hey by Z. Sigh, this time's adventure was much more dangerous than we had imagined. After sitting down, Yu Yangzi sighed with lingering fear. Su Huizi's death had a huge impact on me. In the immortal world, I was friends with Su Huizi. Although he was pedantic at times, he was extremely talented in cultivation of immortal arts. He was wise and resourceful. I can't believe he died in the preliminaries. Xiaofan and He Bai Zi were saddened at the mention of this matter. Xiaofan sighed. I wonder how my senior brothers and sect master are doing. Also, big brother Jialan Zi, I wonder if he succeeded in breaking through the encirclement. Brother Jialan is very powerful. This preliminaries won't be a problem for him, Fish Arm and He Bai Zi said in unison. Suddenly, He Bai Zi shut his mouth and used his psyche to communicate with Xiaofan through the soul. Brother Xiaofan, can we trust this Heng Shanzi completely? Night. Heng Shanzi and Fairy Zi Xia were sitting in a wooden hut. Shan Shanzi and another immortal were also there. The four of them did not speak, but they were communicating through the soul. Husband, when do we make our move? Fairy Zi Xia looked anxious. The corner of Heng Shanzi's eye twitched slightly. He transmitted his voice to Fairy Zi Xia, Shan Shanzi, and the other immortal. Apart from the four of us, we can't trust anyone else. We have to kill them. However, it won't be easy for us to kill them with just the four of us. Therefore, tomorrow, we'll form a team and go hunting. When we fight, they'll charge in front while we wait for them at the back. We'll make use of them to fight the other teams of immortals. When both sides are injured, we'll attack. Chapter 633. While Heng Shanzi and the other immortals were in cahoots and discussing how to deal with Xiaohan and the others, Xiaohan, He Zi, and Yu Yangzi were secretly communicating with soul telepathy. Big brother He Zi, big brother Yu Yangzi, it's hard to trust Heng Shanzi and his wife in this fierce competition. However, don't worry, I'm here to guarantee your safety. Xiaohan's expression was extremely serious. My plan is to help you kill more immortals and obtain the power of refinement so that you can refine the offensive Dharma treasures in your Dantian. Then, you'll have the foundation to protect yourselves. You won't have to rely on others to protect yourselves. Although Xiaofan was an ordinary person, Black-White Z and Yu Yangzi firmly believed in his words and his promise. Xiaofan had also observed. Although Yu Yangzi and He Z didn't have many Dharma treasures in their dantian, there were still some offensive Dharma treasures. If they could obtain enough power of refinement and make the offensive Dharma treasures their own, they wouldn't be easily killed by others. They would have no problem protecting themselves. Right. In the 4th district, only the 3 of us can trust each other. The other immortals might betray us for their own benefits. Yu Yangzi said in realization. Xiaofan rubbed his nose. If I'm not wrong, Heng Shanzi and the others will take action tomorrow. After a pause, Xiaofan stood up and stretched. Big brothers, rest early. See you tomorrow. Brother Xiaofan, rest well too. Yu Yangzi and He Z stood up and said goodbye. Xiaofan lay on the wooden bed. The starlight seeped in through the window. It was dreamy and illusory. At the same time, Xiaofan's psychic energy also keenly sensed that there was an extremely powerful soul energy that was staring at him like a maggot in his bones. It was constantly monitoring him. Not far from Xiaofan's wooden house, Shan Lianzi sat cross-legged in the air under the moonlight. His gaze could see through everything and covered a large area. However, he had separated a trace of his divine soul to monitor Xiaofan closely. To this, Xiaofan didn't mind. His heart was filled with killing intent as he thought to himself. Shan Lianzi, your godly eagle's eye is indeed very mysterious. However, this supportive Dharma treasure is not as powerful as it used to be. It will soon belong to me, Xiaofan. The next day. Early morning. Everyone, you must have had a good rest last night. Heng Shanzi and Xiaofan walked out of the wooden house hand in hand. Today, Heng Shanzi looked refreshed and in high spirits, making him look extremely handsome and elegant. Xiaofan nestled next to Heng Shanzi like a little bird. Xiaofan. Black and White Child, Yu Yangzi, Shan Lianzi, and the other immortals all gathered at the center of the wooden huts. Ladies and gentlemen, immortals die every day in the 4th region. I'm afraid that the number of immortals who have survived to this day is far greater than the number of immortals who have died. There were less than 5,000 of them left. The points we have now are far from enough. We can't hide. We have to take the initiative to attack. Heng Shanzi said proudly. Today, let's leave this place and hunt. After a pause, Heng Shanzi looked at the mountain range. Brother Shanluanzi, why don't you tell the others about the hunting plan? No problem, Shan Lianzi said with a smile as he took a step forward. Our hunting plan is very simple. I'll survey the area with the divine eagle's eye. Once we find a small group, we'll launch a sneak attack. Of course, if we find a large group, we'll avoid them in advance. Shan Lianzi paused for a moment and said with a frown. However, when I use the divine eagle's eye to survey, I'll be very focused, which won't be good for killing. Therefore, there must be someone by my side to protect me. That's right, Brother Shan Luanzi. You're using this celestial artifact to scout, so you'll definitely be focused on it. If you get into a fight, you'll be easily injured. You're the most important part of our team. If you don't scout ahead, our small team definitely won't be able to fight against the other teams. This is a very important matter, so I, Heng Shanzi, will personally protect you. Heng Shanzi stood next to Shan Lianzi with a righteous look on his face. At the same time, Xiaofan also leaned over. The other immortal who participated in the conspiracy last night also said with a smile. Brother Shanluanzi, don't worry and survey. I'll be by your side to protect you during the battle. I won't let you die. Ha ha ha. Alright, it'll just be me, my wife, and Brother Huoyanzi. We'll protect Brother Shanluanzi closely, Heng Shanzi said with a smile. Little Brother Xiaohan, brothers He and He, brother Yu Yangzi. When the battle begins, the few of you will be the vanguard. Ha ha ha. But don't worry, although we, my wife, and brother Huiyanzi are mainly responsible for protecting Shanluanzi, we'll definitely lend you a helping hand during the battle. Alright, brother Shanluanzi does indeed need protection. Xiaofan smiled innocently, then casually glanced at Hengshanzi, Xiaofan, Shanluanzi, and Huiyanzi. He already knew. There are only 4 people in this team, and they're colluding with each other. The rest are just cannon fodder. Good, very good. If the battle really begins, the first people I'll kill will be you. The other immortals didn't say much about Hengshanzi's arrangement. Since no one has any objections, let's go. Hengshanzi said with a bright smile. Then, with a flash of immortal light, he shot up into the sky. I hope we'll be able to gain something today and return with a full load. Whoosh 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 whoosh, the group of people began to fly. At the front of the group were Xiaofan, Yu Yangzi, and He. At the back of the group were Hengshanzi, Shanluanzi, Xiaofan, and Huiyanzi. The remaining 4 immortals were in the middle of the group, unaware that they had been betrayed. Soon, the group passed the volcano and flew toward the west. As they flew, every immortal, including Xiaofan, wore solemn expressions. Their soul and mind power spread out in all directions, observing every inch of space around them for the slightest movement. Currently, the competition in Division 4 had reached its most intense stage. Anyone can become a hunter. Similarly, anyone could become a prey. Among them, the most nervous person was undoubtedly Shanluanzi. The divine eagle's eye shot out from between Shanluanzi's eyebrows. It was overflowing with colors and glistened brilliantly. It could scan an area of 20 li. It could be said that Shanluanzi was now the leader of the team. His observation, intelligence, and decisions would completely determine the fate of the team. Shanluanzi became more and more nervous. His face was also slightly distorted, and he seemed to be extremely surprised. Shanluanzi understood that battles, deaths, and killings could happen at any time. Brother Shanluanzi, don't be too nervous, Hengshanzi quickly comforted him in a low voice. Calm down, Xiaofan, who was flying in front, did not think much of it. He turned around and sneered disdainfully. This Shanluanzi is really an idiot. He has such a great initiative and can discover the whereabouts of the other immortals in advance. He's completely undefeatable. Yet, he's still so afraid. This person won't amount to much. The divine eagle's eye was obtained by Shanluanzi. It's like casting pearls before swine. Brother Hengshanzi, let me calm down. I'm fine. Shanluanzi let out a breath. He adjusted his breathing. At that moment, boom 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 boom, in front of him was a team of immortals. They were aggressive and had a strong lineup. They were heading toward him. The immortal leading the team was wearing a long golden robe. He had 140,000 points above his head and was surrounded by immortal chi. There were more than 50 immortals behind him. This was an extremely powerful team. Hiss. Shanluanzi's divine eagle's eye had discovered the team of immortals that was charging at them from 20 li away. Of course, the team of immortals did not notice Xiaofan's team. Run! 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 Shanluanzi yelled in fear. Brother Shanluanzi, this. Hengshanzi was stunned. Quick! Retreat! Dozens of immortals were charging at them. The immortal leading them has more than 100,000 points and has refined Dharma treasures. There are 54 immortals behind him. They can destroy us easily. Go! Hurry! Or else it'll be too late. Shanluanzi was extremely afraid of death. His voice was trembling and his body was shaking. Go! Hengshanzi made up his mind. The team immediately turned around and ran in the opposite direction of the team of immortals. After running for 100 li, Shanluanzi let out a sigh of relief. Alright, they didn't discover our whereabouts. They didn't chase after us. Everyone, we can't fight against such a powerful team. So, let's hold it in for now, Heng Shanzi comforted them. Once we obtain enough power to refine all of our Dharma treasures, we'll be able to crush that team just now. After a pause, Heng Shanzi looked at Shanluanzi. Brother Shanluanzi, continue to investigate. Just like that, it was dusk. Shanluanzi found a total of 4 teams of immortals, but he didn't attack them. The 4 teams were extremely powerful. There were more than 50 immortals in each team. They were not a team that Xiaofan and the immortals next to him could fight against. This made Heng Shanzi and Wuxia Fairy look irritated and impatient. The husband and wife were also exchanging glances with each other. They began to communicate with each other through their souls. Husband, we can't deal with any of the teams we encountered today. It'll be a waste of time if we continue like this. Otherwise. Wuxia Fairy glanced at Xiaofan out of the corner of her eye while communicating with Heng Shanzi. A murderous look flashed across her eyes. We might as well kill this mortal and take his points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. Maybe after we get the refining power in this kid's body, you can successfully obtain the golden dragon scissors that you've been dreaming of. Well. Heng Shanzi was hesitant. Xiaofan saw all of this and sneered inwardly. Can't hold it in anymore and want to fight? Heh. I'm ready for battle as well. Xiaofan maintained a harmless expression on his face, even a little humble and pitiful, so as not to arouse any suspicion from the immortals. However, wait. Shanluanzi growled again. There's a team of immortals on the left. There are 6 of them. Only 6 of them. Oh. 6 people? Heng Shanzi quickly calmed himself down and said sternly. Brother Shanluanzi, look carefully. Are there really only 6 people? What are the points of these 6 people? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian and vote for it. Your support is my greatest motivation. For mobile users, please read it at Chidian. 9. Chapter 634. Xiaofan, Heng Shanzi, and the other immortals feigned civility and came out to hunt. However, even with Shanluanzi's superior scouting ability as a guarantee, the day's hunt did not go smoothly. The teams of immortals that they encountered along the way were all extremely powerful. This team did not dare to covet them. On the contrary, Shanluanzi, Heng Shanzi, and the other immortals were on tenterhooks. Xiaofan despised the behavior and courage of these immortals. However, at dusk, there was finally good news. Shanluanzi was trembling with excitement. His face was flushed, and his eyes were bulging. Yes. It's only a team of 6. They're about 15. 6 li away from us. They're moving very slowly, and all of them look anxious. It's a very weak team. Brother Shanluanzi, look at their points. Heng Shanzi's breathing quickened. All of them have less than 10,000 points. The immortal with the most points is the leader, who has 4,200 points. The rest have 3,800 points, 2,400 points. There's even someone with 1,200 points. Judging from their points, this team must be extremely weak. Shanluanzi had thoroughly observed the situation of the 6-man team. This was the advantage of the eye of the godly eagle. It could spy on the target from afar without the target noticing. Xiaohan's soul power spread out like a fishing net, trying his best to capture the situation in his surroundings. However, within the range of Xiaohan's mental scan, there was no movement at all. Xiaofan did not discover the team of 6. After all, Xiaohan's soul power was in the 4th region. It was greatly restricted. At most, he could only observe a range of 4 to 5 li. That was the limit. It was far from the range of 20 li that the eye of the godly eagle could observe. Therefore, Xiaofan was drooling over the eye of the godly eagle. The team of 6 is approaching us. Shan Luanzi said excitedly. They're about 12 to 3 li away from us. Brother Heng Shanzi, quickly allocate the manpower. All right. Heng Shanzi said hoarsely. The other side has 6 people. They must have been extremely dismal, and their strength is lacking. Therefore, Brother Black and White, Brother Fish Arm, Little Brother Xiaohan, Brother Autumn Sword. The 7 of you will directly charge forward and break through the enemy lines. Strive to kill 2 of them in an instant with lightning speed. Heng Shanzi's expression. It also became slightly ferocious. Everyone, there are only 6 of them. If the 7 of you rush over, you'll have the advantage in numbers. Moreover, they don't know that we're like tigers lying on the side. If we suddenly launch a sneak attack, we'll definitely catch them off guard. It's definitely possible to kill 2 people in an instant. Brothers Black and White, the 7 of you will go prepared. Gather your celestial force and attack 2 of the 6-man team. Kill them all. Then, I, Shanluanzi, Huiyanzi, and Zixia will gather our strength and kill 2 more. The remaining 2 will be killed by the 11 of us in one fell swoop. This plan is very thorough. It'll only take a few breaths to wipe out the 6-man team and obtain their points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. Heng Shanzi said decisively. That's a great plan. Zixia Fairy echoed. Xiaohan and the others exchanged glances. Xiaohan shrugged and said. All right, let's follow Brother Heng Shanzi's plan. After a pause, Xiaohan looked at Heizi and Yu Yangzi. Brothers, let's charge. We'll be at the forefront and join forces with the other 4 immortal brothers to kill 2 of the 6 people. Brother Heng Shanzi will take care of the rest, okay? Black and White and Fish Arm said in unison. At the same time, Fish Arm took out an immortal dagger from his storage ring. Black and White took out an immortal artifact in the shape of a chessboard. As for the other 4 immortals, they were not Heng Shanzi's trusted subordinates and were used as cannon fodder by Heng Shanzi this time. They had no idea about Heng Shanzi's plot. Instead, they took out their immortal items and said to Xiaohan. Let's go. Let's go. Xiaohan unleashed his true qi and flew toward the 6-man team at a low altitude. Yu Yangzi and Heizi followed closely behind, one on the left and one on the right. The 4 cannon fodder immortals also followed behind, their fighting spirit rising. Heh! Heng Shanzi stood on the spot and watched Xiaohan and the other 6 immortals leave. His expression suddenly darkened and became extremely ferocious. Behind him, Shanzi, Zixia Fairy, and Huiyanzi approached him at the same time. Their faces were filled with eagerness. The 4 of them quickly transmitted their voices to each other. TSK, the 6-man team and the 7 idiots before us are 13 people in total. After we kill them, we'll obtain a huge amount of points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. Heng Shanzi was extremely greedy. We've made a fortune this time. We've made a fortune. After a pause, Heng Shanzi's attitude became extremely firm and domineering. I'll kill that mortal Xiaohan. Don't snatch it. Killing Xiaohan will give us tens of thousands of points and hundreds of Dharma treasures. I'm sure he has a lot of refining power stored in his body as well. How about this? I'll take the mortal Xiaohan, Black and White, and Fish Arm. I'll take 2 from the 6-man team. You can split the rest among yourselves. After this, I'll definitely be able to refine the golden WIRM scissors in my body perfectly. At that time, I'll have a place in the 4th realm. I'm afraid even the sons of the stars will try to win me over. Zixia Fairy and the others didn't have any objections to this arrangement. Big brother Heng Shanzi, what should we do? Shan Shanzi asked, licking his lips. Listen, let's follow them now. After they fight, we'll take our time to make our move. After they kill 2 of the 6 people, they'll definitely counterattack. At that time, it'll be 7 against 4. However, Xiaofan is just an ordinary person, so his combat power is negligible. That means it'll be 6 against 4. We'll stay behind and wait for a while. Don't make a move. When they're both injured, we'll directly kill them. Kill them all. Don't let a single one of them go. Later, we'll use our strongest immortal tool. Alright. Let's go, the battle is about to begin. Heng Shanzi led Shan Shanzi, Xiaofan, and Huiyanzi to follow Xiaofan and the others. They were secretly adjusting their fighting conditions and preparing for their strongest attack. Xiaofan and the others flew slowly at a low altitude. At the same time, Black and White and Fish Arm were communicating with Xiaofan through soul transmission. Brother Xiaofan, later on, the 3 of us can directly kill one of those 6 people. Yu Yangzi quickly said. We can kill the other 4. Indeed, we can easily kill 2 of the 6-man team's immortals with a sneak attack, Black and White said. Brother Xiaofan, do you think there's a trap? There must be a trap. Xiaofan finally said what he was thinking. This. Hearing this, Fish Arm and Black and White panicked. Hearing this, Fish Cripple and Black and White were both flustered. Brothers, don't be anxious. Xiaofan was extremely calm. I've been prepared for such a drastic change. Heng Shanzi, Shanluanzi, Xiaofan, and Huiyanzi stayed at the end of today's hunt and instigated us to go first. It's weird. Moreover, when I was assigning tasks, I sensed the subtle changes in the divine souls of Heng Shanzi, Shanluanzi, and the others. They must be plotting something. If I'm not mistaken, Heng Shanzi and the others won't help us immediately when we're fighting with the 6-man squad. They'll wait until we're injured and then kill us together. Despicable. Yu Yangzi and Black and White believed Xiaofan's words without a doubt. 2 big brothers, in fact, isn't this also an opportunity for us? Xiaofan's heart was also burning with passion. Heng Shanzi and the others want to kill us, but we can also kill them. Brother Xiaofan, we'll do as you say. Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi said. Later, we'll still attack the 6-man squad. We'll kill one of them and let the other 4 immortals kill the second one. Then, we'll conserve our strength and don't go all out against the remaining members of the 6-man squad. After that, Xiaofan's eyes flashed with killing intent. Brother Black and White Child, Brother Yu Yangzi, join forces and kill Xiaofan. As for Heng Shanzi, Shanluanzi, and Huiyanzi, I'll kill them. Brother Xiaofan, you're fighting 1 against 3, this. Black and White Child hesitated slightly. Xiaofan smiled confidently and said. This is also a sudden sneak attack. I'm 90% confident. Okay. Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi chose to believe Xiaofan unconditionally. Xiaofan paused for a moment, then turned around and smiled at the 4 immortals behind him. For big brothers, I'm just a mortal. When we're fighting, Xiaofan will stay behind and watch the battle. If I encounter an immortal in a head-on battle, I'll be ashamed. Humph. The 4 immortals were cold and arrogant. They looked at Xiaofan disdainfully. One of them sneered. Mortal, go back and hide in the back. I'm afraid your attack won't be able to break through an immortal's defense. Yes, I know my limits. Xiaofan's lips curled into a cold smile. Then, he circled behind the 4 immortals. They shivered. Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi flew in front without batting an eyelid. Behind Xiaofan were Heng Shanzi, Shanluanzi, Xiaofan, and Huiyanzi. Oh! That mortal, Xiaofan, is hiding behind me? Huiyanzi was startled. Zixia Fairy sneered. He's just a mortal. In a real fight, he wouldn't dare to fight an immortal head-on. Such a lowly thing can only rely on sneak attacks to kill immortals on the verge of death. Husband, you should kill Xiaofan later. Yes, we'll act according to the original plan. Heng Shanzi smiled confidently. At this moment. Everyone, pay attention. We're 5 li away from the 6-man squad. They should be able to find us soon. Prepare to attack. Don't wait for them to discover us. Attack immediately. Catch them off guard. Shanluanzi immediately sent a soul message to warn everyone. To be continued. Chapter 635. Shan Lianzi used the Divine Eagle's Eye to closely observe the situation of the 6-man team. The two sides were about to approach each other. The battle was about to begin. The black and white immortal force in front of the team had already gathered all the immortal force in their bodies. Their goal was to kill anyone in the 6-man team. Of course, they would choose the person with the least points to attack. The 4 immortals behind the black and white immortal force had communicated and prepared to ambush the leader of the 6-man team, the immortal with the most points. If the 4 of them joined forces and used their strongest killing move, they would definitely be able to kill the leader of the 6-man team. Xiaofan, on the other hand, was gathering his immortal body's divine power. His mental wave was firmly locked onto Heng Shanzi and the others behind him. A 6-man team. At this moment, the 6-man team had no idea that a great disaster was about to befall them. Every member of the 6-man team was extremely cautious. They had already extended their immortal senses to the limit and were constantly scouting. Everyone, there are no traces of other immortal teams nearby. It seems that this area is relatively safe. The leader of the 6-man team heaved a sigh of relief. Our strategy is to focus on stability. As he spoke, the leader also smiled. As a matter of fact, as long as we get into the top 100 of this area, we can pass the preliminaries. Our team's strength is relatively weak, so we can't compete with those large teams. So, we have to stabilize and protect ourselves first, and try our best not to encounter other teams. When the other teams compete and kill each other, who knows, maybe in the end, we can even be the fisherman who reaps the benefits without doing anything. Ha 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 ha. Yes, when those teams compete and kill each other, we'll protect ourselves and take advantage of the situation. The other 5 immortals also laughed. At the same time, Xiaofan and the others were ready to pounce. At this moment, the black and white immortal force, fish immortal force, and many other immortals were standing still. Their immortal chi was also gathered to the limit. Each of them was holding an immortal artifact or dharma treasure that they carried with them. Kill. Suddenly, Heng Shanzi gave the order. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the first to bear the brunt. Hei Hei Zi, Yu Yangzi, and the other 4 immortals charged forward like bolts of lightning. Xiaofan quietly followed behind. At this moment, Xiaofan was monitoring the movements of Heng Shanzi and the others behind him. On the other hand, he was secretly watching Hei Hei Zi and Yu Lang Zi. Once the 2 of them were in danger, Xiaofan would not hesitate to help them. Of course, Heng Shanzi and the other immortals behind him were also highly focused and ready for their ultimate moves. Before the misfortune befell the team of 6, there was no prediction at all. All of a sudden. Boom! First, 2 streams of immortal chi shot out and killed one of the immortals with 2,400 points hovering above his head. The immortal body exploded. Multicolored light shot out in all directions. The Dharma treasures, the power of refinement, and the points in his body all fell out. This was the joint attack of Fish Stem and Black and White Child. This attack was a complete sneak attack. The other party was completely unprepared. It should be noted that the immortal who was killed was about as strong as Yu Lang Zi. Now that he was unprepared, Fish Stem and Black and White Child joined forces to kill him. The Immortal was instantly killed. Because it was the Black and White players' attacks that had caused the Immortal's death, the points, the magical items, and the power of refinement were all taken by the Black and White players. In the blink of an eye, the points hovering above the Black and White players' heads approached 5,000. Roar! Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The leader of the team of 6 was the first to react. His immortal chi exploded and he let out a heart-wrenching scream. However, boom! 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 4 streams of immortal light gathered at the same time and blasted at him. Bang! The leader of the team of 6 had just shouted when his body was hit by the 4 attacks. His immortal body exploded and he died. Dropped. His 4,200 points, all his Dharma treasures, and power of refinement were taken by one of the 4 immortals. Sure enough, just as Heng Shanzi had planned, the team of 6 lost 2 people in a single exchange. After the first wave of attacks, the remaining 4 people of the team of 6 quickly reacted. The remaining 4 immortals were shocked and furious. However, under such circumstances, they completely understood that since they had been discovered and hunted, they would not rest until one of them was dead. There was no logic to it. If you don't kill, they will kill you. Kill. The blood of their teammates caused the 4 immortals' eyes to turn bloodshot. They fought with all their might. They even burned all the immortal chi in their bodies to counterattack at all costs. This was a counterattack before death. It was extremely powerful. At this moment, Xiaofan immediately said to Black and White Child and Fish Seedling, "Big brothers. Don't fight them head-on now. Use your movement techniques to deal with these 4 fellows who are like cornered beasts. Don't fight. Try to avoid them and pretend to fight." Understood. Black and White Child and Fish Stem immediately responded. Therefore, Black and White Child and Fish Stem put on an act and roared loudly. However, their figures kept flashing and they did not fight the 4 immortals head-on. On Xiaohan's side, the 4 immortals who had killed the leader of the team of 6 did not pretend to fight. They immediately went forward and used their unique skills to fight the remaining 4 people. At the same time, the 4 immortals sent a voice transmission to Heng Shanzi's soul, "Big brother Heng Shanzi, our plan succeeded. Now, you guys attack too. Let's work together to kill the remaining 4 evildoers." However, at this moment, Heng Shanzi, Shan Lianzi, Zixia Fairy, and Hui Yinzi stood side by side. They did not move at all and did not have any intention to attack. There was even a cold expression on their faces. Wait, let's wait until both sides are injured. Heng Shanzi suppressed the restlessness in his heart. Soon, we'll be able to obtain a large number of points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. We're close to success. The battle soon reached its climax. In fact, this was a battle of 4 against 4. Fish Stem, Black and White Child, and Xiaofan did not attack at all. Fish Stem and Black and White Child were fine. Although they did not attack, immortal chi rose from their bodies and radiated dazzling light. They shouted continuously. Kill! 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 They had controlled their momentum well enough. However, Xiaofan did not do anything. He stood on the spot and did not move an inch. Pfft, the surviving immortal of the team of 6 did not hesitate to shatter his left arm in exchange for a palm strike. Pfft. The surviving immortal of the team of 6 even chopped off the left leg of an immortal on Xiaohan's side. It was a 4 versus 4 battle. The sky was dark, but there was no distinction between them. Both sides had taken damage. After a few breaths, 8 immortals had their limbs severed. Immortal blood gushed out of their mouths. Heng Shanzi. Attack! Attack! The 4 immortals on Xiaohan's side could not bear it anymore and roared crazily. Attack now, Shan Luanzi shouted in an extremely displeased manner. Black and white child, fish stem, why are you putting on airs over there? Kill. The scene was a little chaotic. Heng Shanzi, on the other hand, was observing the situation and assessing the situation. It's almost time. Get ready to attack. I'll kill that mortal, Xiaofan. Xia, Shan Lianzi, Huiyanzi, you guys charge forward and pretend to kill the remaining members of the team of 6. In fact, attack those 2 idiots, fish stem and black and white child. At the same time, Xiaofan sensed the subtle change in Heng Shanzi's emotions. He deeply felt Heng Shanzi's killing intent and aura. Attack. Brother black and white child, brother fish stem, you guys work together to kill Fairy Xia. I'll take care of the rest. Xiaofan sent a thought and an immortal light burst out from his feet. Boots of divine speed activated. Maximum speed increased by 5 times. Speed comparable to a level 4 true immortal. Swoosh, in the midst of the chaos, Xiaofan's figure flashed, leaving behind an afterimage. He was already closing in on Heng Shanzi. His speed was so fast that no one could react in time. Heng Shanzi was only a level 2 true immortal. His speed was definitely not comparable to a level 4 true immortal. Moreover, part of his attention was on the battlefield. Moreover, he was very confident about his plan. He thought that he had taken every possibility into consideration and had the situation under control. The next thing he needed to do was to kill and seize the benefits. However, he had never expected that Xiaofan, a mortal who had never shown his strength, would also plot against him. And he was one step ahead of him. By the time Heng Shanzi realized what was going on, Xiaofan had already rushed over and punched at him. This punch was like the eruption of thousands of volcanoes. This punch was like the fall of thousands of meteorites. This punch was not the strength of a mortal. It was the strength of 40 celestial dragons. Bang! The punch landed on Heng Shanzi's body and created a pit. Bang! 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 Without any hesitation, Xiaofan punched 3 more times. One hit Heng Shanzi's head, one hit his chest, and the last hit his dantian. Ah! Heng Shanzi let out a heart-wrenching scream before he died. His scream was filled with fear, despair, surprise, unwillingness, and regret. Heng Shanzi was smashed into pieces by Xiaofan. When Heng Shanzi died, Xia Fairy also screamed in horror. She and Heng Shanzi had been husband and wife for many years, so they had a tacit understanding. As soon as Heng Shanzi died, she felt a sharp pain in her heart and immediately fell into a state of dullness and grief. In the blink of an eye, just as Xia Fairy was bursting into tears and sinking into the state of a clay sculpture, Black and White Sun and Yu Yangzi had already charged over. Puff! Puff! 2 rays of immortal light. One penetrated Fairy Xia's dantian, and the other chopped off her left arm. On the other side, the moment Xiaofan killed Heng Shanzi, he dashed to the front of Shan Lianzi and Huiyanzi at a ghostly speed without any hesitation. He stretched out his left and right arms and clawed at them. His left hand grabbed Shanzi's head, and his right hand grabbed Huiyanzi's head. Bang! Bang! 2 people's heads exploded. In fact, when Black and White Zi and Yu Yangzi joined hands to kill Fairy Xia, Xiaofan had already crushed Shanzi and Huiyanzi's heads. Xiaofan's speed was indescribable. In just a few breaths, Heng Shanzi was dead. Xia Fairy was dead. Shanzi was dead. Huiyanzi was dead. Chapter 636. The husband and wife, Heng Shanzi and Xia Fairy, had schemed against human lives, but they did not expect that man's plan would fail. They had harmed themselves instead of harming others. They had completely fallen into Xiaofan's hands. Taking advantage of the great disparity in speed, Xiaofan directly killed Heng Shanzi, Shan Wanzi, and Flame Zhanzi when they were caught off guard by surprise. Suddenly, violent points, refining power, and Dharma treasures surged into Xiaofan's body. Xiaofan obtained the Eye of the Divine Eagle from Shanlianzi's body, and the Supreme Battle Will Pill from Huawanzi's body. Moreover, after killing the 3 immortals, Xiaofan's points skyrocketed from 38,328 to 61,298. 3 streams of refining power surged into Xiaofan's dantian and were stored by him. At this moment, the 8 immortals who were fighting each other were already seriously injured. It was a situation where both sides suffered losses. The sudden death of Heng Shanzi and the other immortals caused the 8 immortals to stop fighting and look over in confusion and shock. At this moment, Brother He Zi, Brother Yu Yangzi. Kill! Xiaofan roared. Big brothers, your points and power of refinement aren't very high. You'll have to personally kill these 8 immortals and take their points, magical treasures, and power of refinement. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaofan's figure flashed, and he charged forward. Bang! 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 8 loud sounds. Xiaofan suddenly punched out 8 times at lightning speed, bombarding the bodies of the 8 immortals. This caused them to be even more injured. All of them vomited blood. Kill! The black and white children and fish seedling. He Zi and Yu Yangzi also reacted and charged forward. In the end, He Zi and Yu Yangzi easily killed 4 seriously injured immortals each and plundered a large number of points, Dharma treasures, and refining power. This way, the points floating above He Zi and Yu Yangzi's heads had reached tens of thousands. The hundreds of Dharma treasures in their bodies were shining together. Brother Xiaofan. We did it! Black White Zi and Yu Yangzi both let out cries of pleasant surprise. Apart from joy, their voices also contained waves of disbelief. At this point, even Black White Child and Yu Yangzi found it hard to believe that they could kill so many immortals and obtain so many points. This was like a dream. That's right, if I hadn't met Xiaofan. If it wasn't for Xiaofan, Black and White Sun and Yu Yangzi would not have been able to kill so many immortals. Instead, they might have been killed by Xixia Fairy's scheme. In other words, Xiaofan had saved the lives of He Bai Zi and Yu Lang Zi. Brothers, let's leave this place first and find a secluded place to digest what we've learned today. Xiaofan said. Then, he took out his storage ring and collected all the immortal corpses floating in the sky. Go! The 3 of them immediately left the place. Night. Xiaofan, Black and White Sun, and Yu Yangzi quietly arrived at a quiet valley. Xiaofan activated his mental power and looked around to make sure that there were no other immortals within a few miles. Brothers, we'll rest here tonight. We'll probably stay here for the next few days, Xiaofan said as he sorted out his words. Brothers, both of you have obtained quite a lot of refinement energy today. Now, both of you should try to refine one of the offensive treasures in your dantian. As for me, I will refine the Eye of the Divine Eagle. Under the moonlight, Xiaofan's face showed an optimistic attitude. As long as you each refine an immortal treasure, and I control the Eye of the Divine Eagle, we'll have enough resources in the 4th region to compete with other immortal teams. Good. Brother Xiaofan, the refining power in our bodies is indeed enough. Previously, after we obtained the power of refinement, we started to refine offensive celestial artifacts as well. However, we didn't have enough power of refinement, so we couldn't completely master offensive celestial artifacts. Now, I reckon that after obtaining so much power of refinement, everything will be easily solved. Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi were eager to give it a try. After the 3 of them talked for a while, they each chose a secluded corner in the valley and sat down cross-legged to look at their dantians. Xiaofan sat behind a sharp rock that was several feet tall in the valley. He looked at his heart with his eyes closed. He looked inside himself with his mental power. At this moment, more than 600 Dharma treasures were spinning in Xiaofan's dantian. It could be said that they were twinkling like stars. Among the Dharma treasures, there were some offensive immortal treasures, defensive immortal armors, and some immortal treasures with special functions. After Heng Shanzi was killed, the golden Wirm scissors that Heng Shanzi had refined halfway appeared in Xiaofan's dantian. However, Xiaofan understood that with his identity as immortal, even if he refined these offensive and defensive immortal treasures, it would be difficult for him to unleash their true power. Therefore, Xiaofan placed his focus on the Eye of the Divine Eagle and the bottle of Supreme Battle Will pills. The Eye of the Divine Eagle was a support-type immortal treasure. It didn't have any offensive or defensive abilities. It could only expand the detection range to about 20 miles. At this moment, the Eye of the Divine Eagle that was wandering in Xiaofan's dantian did not have Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Divine Will restriction. There was only a trace of Shan Luanzi's soul imprint. Shan Lianzi had already used his power of refinement to remove the seal on the Eye of the God of the Eagle. Hence, if Xiaofan wanted to obtain the Eye of the God of the Eagle, he did not need to waste his power of refinement. All he needed to do was to drip his blood on it to claim ownership. Very good. That saves me a lot of effort. Xiaofan smiled. With a thought, he flipped his right hand and the Eye of the Divine Eagle appeared in his right palm. It was a deep eyeball. Indistinctly, one could see some immortal runes and talismans in the depths of the pupil. Xiaofan's mind power seeped into the eyeball and realized that it was extraordinary. Good. You belong to me. Xiaofan bit his finger and blood dripped onto the eyeball. Poof. Inside the eyeball. There was a crisp cracking sound. Then, the eyeball and Xiaofan's divine soul. An inseparable connection was established. It was like a pair of hands and feet. Dripping blood to recognize its owner was a success. Xiao, the Eye of the Divine Eagle, turned into a brilliant celestial light and entered Xiaofan's forehead. Very quickly, the restriction on Xiaofan's mind power in this space loosened a little. This caused Xiaofan's mind power to fluctuate more freely. In an instant, it extended to about 20 miles. He felt as though his vision had been broadened and the sky was vast and the sea was vast. Awesome! Xiaofan stood up and the Divine Eagle totem appeared on his forehead. There seemed to be spirals of light rolling in his eyes. He looked around and everything within a 20-mile radius. It appeared clearly in Xiaofan's mind, down to the finest detail. It was as though he was looking at the lines on his palm. There's no danger within a 20-mile radius. Xiaofan smiled. Then, Xiaofan sat down again. He carefully observed the wind and grass within a 20-mile radius, while he used his inner vision again. A bottle of Supreme Battle Will elixir was locked onto by Xiaofan. This bottle of elixir was a rare mental energy elixir that could directly strengthen one's soul power. There were a total of 10 Supreme Battle Will elixir. Xiaofan knew that once he consumed these 10 Supreme Battle Will elixir, his soul power would transform once again. It would break through the bottleneck of the extinguishing sky decimating earth spiritual technique and improve further. It would also make the saber intent more condensed and sharper, and its lethality would be greater. Xiaofan did not think too much. Very quickly, he gathered the power of refinement in his dantian. With a thought. Boom! This wave of refinement violently attacked the restriction on the surface of the Supreme Battle Will elixir. Pooh! About a third of the restriction was broken. Xiaofan let out a breath of turbid air in frustration. I still need some refinement power to completely break the restriction and obtain this bottle of elixir that nourishes mental energy. Forget it. After Big Brother He Zi and Yulang Zi have successfully refined the treasure, the three of us will go out and hunt other immortal teams. Now that I've refined the Divine Eagle's Eye, I have more confidence in hunting immortals. It's not that difficult to accumulate refinement power, This way, Xiaofan waited in the valley for He He Zi and Yulang Zi to refine the treasure. He had the divine eagle's eye, which could detect danger. He was outstanding and protected He He Zi and Yulang Zi perfectly. On the third day, Xiao, 2 rays of immortal light shone. Clouds were steaming. We did it. Brother Xiaofan, we did it. He He Zi and Yulang Zi exclaimed in joy. In the valley, He He Zi took out a glass bottle. The bottle was about a meter long. Auspicious light was rising from the mouth of the bottle. It was a mysterious formation. Brother Xiaofan, Brother Yulang Zi, this is the treasure that I refined, He He Zi said excitedly. This magical treasure is called the colored glass bottle. It can suck a level 3 true immortal into the bottle. Inside the bottle is the true Samadhi fire formation of the immortal realm. It can turn the enemy that is sucked into the bottle into ashes. Although this treasure isn't too brilliant in the second level of the immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure trove, it's more than enough for me to use, and I won't have any problems protecting myself. For example, if I had this glass bottle in the battle with Hengshan Zi and the others, I could have killed them instantly. Hell, look at me. Yulang Zi laughed. Then, he waved his right hand. Immortal light shone and a seal flew out from his palm. The seal wasn't big, but it was engraved with many mountains, rivers, birds, and beasts. This is the mountain-suppressing seal. After it's taken out, it can become the size of a huge mountain. It can crush a level 3 true immortal into ashes. It's very powerful in terms of attack power. Ha ha ha. I, Yulang Zi, didn't expect to have such a powerful treasure when I'm only a level 2 true immortal. This is much more powerful than the life-saving trump card that the sect gave me to use in the lower realm. Good. Xiaofan shouted. Brothers, a glass bottle and a mountain-suppressing seal. That's great. Then, the 3 of us will leave the valley. Now, we have to go all out. Ha 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 ha. To be continued, you. Chapter 637. After a few days of rest, Xiaofan, the black-white child, and Yu Yangzi finally absorbed everything they had gained from the battle with Hengshanzi. Ibdu, Xiaofan had gained control of the Eye of the Divine Eagle, and a third of the restriction on the Supreme Battle Will Pill had been broken. As for the black-white child and Yu Yangzi, they had improved by leaps and bounds. One of them had refined the glass bottle, and the other had refined the mountain-suppressing seal. Then, the 3 of them quietly left the valley, ready to fight for more points, magical treasures, and refining power. In the 4th region. On a spacious plain. Boom. 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 Immortal light flashed, and crimson light filled the sky, burning the plain into lava. Bubbles popped and popped. On the plain, more than 40 immortals were covered in blood and seriously injured. They struggled to hold on. Nearly 100 immortals surrounded the 40 immortals and attacked them with their strongest attacks. In the end, the 40 or so immortals were like flickering oil lamps. One by one, they fell to the ground. Their points, magical treasures, and power of refinement all fell out of them. Roar! Son of the stars! You're ruthless. I'll fight you to the death. The leader of the 40 immortals was hysterical. He suddenly took out a scroll. The scroll depicted a bright moon rising from the sea, and a violent pressure spread in all directions. Immortal tool. Heaven see divine painting. Ha ha ha. Child's play. The son of the stars' arrogant and invincible voice rang out. In the next moment, he also took out an immortal tool. A Tai Chi painting. A Tai Chi painting rose into the air. The sky darkened. The Tai Chi painting spun. It extinguished everything. Bang! The sea sky godly painting shattered and exploded. The 40 or so immortals were all dead. The battle was over. Hong, a large number of points, magical treasures, and refining power surged into the Son of the Stars' body. At this moment, the Son of the Stars floated in the air with his hands behind his back. His expression was extremely cold and arrogant, as if he was an invincible monarch. His robes fluttered in the wind. His aura was a mixture of immortal qi, domineering qi, vicious qi, and wild qi. He was truly a dominating figure. He was a figure who ruled over all living beings. At this moment, above the Son of the Stars, the floating points had reached 500,000. Ha 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 ha. Now, I'm afraid I've already taken first place in the fourth region, haven't I? No one could surpass him. No one can compete with me, the Son of Stars, the Son of Stars said arrogantly. Big Brother Son of the Stars is matchless and invincible. Big Brother Son of the Stars will definitely take first place in the fourth region. He proudly entered the arena. There's no suspense. Big Brother Xing Chunzi will definitely find countless treasures and fortunes in the second, third, and even fourth floors of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. Even obtaining the inheritance of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's orthodoxy is a sure thing. Master Jia Lanzi? Master Tao Tai? They're all going to be trampled underfoot by Big Brother Master Star. Many of the immortals standing next to Master Xing Chunzi began to flatter him. Ha 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 ha, the Son of Stars laughed wildly towards the sky. He was extremely proud of himself. Then, all right, the Son of the Stars said with a wave of his hand. Let's wait until we've killed all the other immortals in the fourth region. Then, he made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a few colorful round stones appeared in his palm. These are communication spirit stones, the Son of the Stars said with a smile. I found them among the countless treasures in my Dantian yesterday and refined them. The communication spirit stone is an assistive immortal tool that allows you to communicate with anyone in the fourth region, the Son of the Stars said with a smile. Listen up, the Son of the Stars said with a smile. Including me, our team has exactly 100 people, and there are only 2,000-3,000 immortals left in the fourth region. Now, I'll divide our team into 10 squads, and we'll begin the final sweep of the fourth region. We'll kill all the remaining immortals. The Son of the Stars began to devise strategies and make arrangements. Some of you have obtained enough refining power and refined some of the magical treasures in your bodies. Therefore, those who have refined magical treasures have outstanding battle prowess and can stand on their own. Apart from me, there are 9 others who have refined the treasures in their bodies. Some of the treasures you've refined can kill 3rd-grade true immortals, and some can even kill 4th-grade true immortals. You can do whatever you want in the fourth region. The 9 who have refined treasures, step forward. The Son of the Stars shouted coldly. Immediately, 9 immortals stepped forward. Of the 9 immortals, 8 were men and 1 was a woman, and all of them had accumulated more than 100,000 points. That was especially true of the female immortal, who had 260,000 points. Other than Master Xing Chunzi, she had the most terrifying points in the entire team. Moreover, there was an immortal light that shone brilliantly like a gem circulating around her body. It was obvious that this female celestial had refined some extraordinary immortal artifact or magic treasure. Moreover, the female immortal was extremely charming. Her eyes were as gentle as water, and her figure was curvaceous. She was a stunningly beautiful woman. The Son of the Stars glanced at the 9 immortals and ordered in an unquestionable tone, each of you will lead 9 immortals and form 9 teams to hunt down immortals. I have great faith in the strength of the 9 of you. I'm sure you'll be able to hold your own. Now, I'll send the communication spirit stones to the 9 of you. If you encounter any danger, you can contact me immediately. However, I don't think you'll run into any trouble. Whoosh! 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 The Son of the Stars waved his hand, and 9 glittering communication spirit stones flew into the hands of the 9 immortals. After a pause, the son of the stars looked at the charming female immortal. His sharp gaze softened, and a hint of possessiveness could be seen in his eyes. Jiangzi, you'll lead a team as well. The immortal treasures you've refined are enough to kill 4th grade true immortals. In the 4th region, there's probably nothing left. It's enough to pose a threat to you. Yes, Big Brother Star, Jiangzi understands. The female immortal smiled at the son of the stars. Her eyes were seductive and seductive. She was truly a stunner. Moreover, the female immortal did not forget to remind him affectionately. Be careful, Big Brother Star. Ha 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 ha. The son of the stars laughed confidently. Don't worry about me, Jiangzi. I've refined an invincible treasure called the Taiji diagram and a soul-summoning banner. It's a powerful offensive treasure that's on par with the Taiji diagram. With these 2 treasures, I'm the only one who can kill others in the 4th region. There's absolutely no reason for others to kill me, the son of the stars. Yes. The female immortal, Jiangzi, smiled obediently. As for the other immortals, they all looked at Jiangzi with jealousy, but also with some disdain. Jiangzi was not very strong, but her beauty had won the son of the stars' attention. Therefore, in the son of the stars team, Jiangzi always reaped the rewards without putting in any effort. She had many opportunities to kill other immortals with her own hands. In fact, when the other immortals in the son of the stars team severely injured their opponents, they did not have the right to finish them off with their own hands and obtain their opponent's points and power of refinement. Instead, Jiangzi reaped the rewards without putting in any effort and dealt the fatal blow. Many immortals in the son of the stars team secretly disliked Jiangzi. Some even loathed her. However, none of them dared to voice their anger. After all, she was the son of the stars woman and was doted on by the son of the stars. Therefore, no one dared to say anything wrong about her. After making the arrangements, the son of the stars waved his hand. Go! 9 teams, spread out and hunt in different parts of the 4th region. As a result, the 9 leaders each recruited 9 immortals and formed 9 teams of 10. They held communication spirit stones in their hands and flew off in different directions. Only 9 immortals remained by the son of the stars' side. These 9 immortals were the son of the stars' trusted subordinates. Big Brother Stars, a red-clad immortal asked, what's your real purpose in dividing them into 9 teams? The son of the stars murmured, his eyes glinting with a strange light. The 4th region's qualifier has already reached its final stage. The leaders of the 9 teams have refined their treasures and extraordinary combat strength. Let them hunt until they're full and earn a lot of points. Then, the son of the stars' pupils shrank, and his killing intent skyrocketed. When they've earned a lot of points, treasures, and refinement power, I'll personally attack and severely injure them. Then, the 9 of you will kill them and reap great benefits. Of course, I'll kill the 9 leaders. Jiangzi was an exception. Other than Jiangzi, the remaining 89 people were all killed. Ha ha ha. We'll be the final winners. We've all earned a lot of points and have over 1,000 treasures in our bodies. We'll definitely be in an advantageous position in the arena. The son of the stars laughed heartily. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao means that each region can only have a maximum of 100 people survive. However, only a dozen of us will survive in the 4th region. The rest will all die. All the benefits will be in the hands of the dozen of us. Ahahaha. In the end, the son of the stars laughed wildly. Big Brother Stars, you're truly wise. Yes, what's the point of sharing the benefits with 100 people? It'd be perfect if there were only a dozen people to share the benefits. Ha ha ha. Of course, we'd be more than satisfied if you could give us a little. We wouldn't dare to ask for more. The 9 immortals behind the Son of the Stars said timidly. It doesn't matter. You'll soon gain the power of refinement and control the powerful immortal treasures in your bodies. The 9 of you are connected to me back in the immortal world. Who else should I take care of if not you? Don't worry. Follow me, and you'll definitely benefit greatly from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. The Son of the Stars said with the demeanor of a leader. Then, he said, all right, let's go hunt and kill all the other immortals in the 4th region as soon as possible. To be continued. Chapter 638. Xiaofan, Yu Yangzi, and He Heizi had already arrived at a mountain range. The 3 of them hid on the tallest mountain in the mountain range. They looked toward the eastern horizon. Xiaofan sat cross-legged. The divine eagle's eye between his brows emitted a deep, misty divine light that pierced through nothingness and observed down to the smallest detail. Xiaofan had perfect control over the situation within a 10-mile radius. Xiaofan observed while conversing with Fish Stem and Black and White. Brothers, this mountain range is located in the center of the 4th region. We'll observe from here. I'll spread out my psyche with this place as the center. Once we find any immortal teams, we'll plan how to hunt them down. All right, brother Xiaofan. We'll do as you say. Fish Stem and Black and White listened to Xiaofan's every word. They would not go against his will. Xiaofan nodded slightly. The 3 of them waited for a few hours on the mountain range, but did not find any immortal teams within a 10-mile radius of the mountain range. Xiaofan even flew out and strolled around the mountain range, expanding the scope of his investigation, but to no avail. Dusk. Xiaofan shook his head helplessly. Big brothers, it looks like there are very few immortals left in the 4th region. Otherwise, it's impossible that we haven't seen a single immortal even after waiting for so long in the throat of the 4th region. That's right. Black and White nodded. It's been more than 10 days since we entered the 4th region. Immortals perished every day. From nearly 40,000 immortals. By now, I'm afraid there won't even be 4,000 left. How tragic. Such intense competition must have caused the surviving immortals to be very cautious. They wouldn't easily expose their whereabouts, said Fish Rib. Pausing for a moment, the fish seedling's eyes lit up. A flash of hatred flashed across his eyes. I wonder how many points Master Xing Qinzi has accumulated by now. He's the leader of the most powerful team in the 4th district, and he slaughters everyone in his path. AI. Brother Su Huizi died at his hands. AI. Brother Fish Stem, don't worry, Xiaofan consoled. There are more than 10 days until the 4th region's preliminaries end. Who will have the last laugh? That's not certain. When we entered the 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure, I already had a grudge with Xing Qinzi. I've already formed a grudge with Master of Stars, so there's no way Master of Stars will let me off the hook just because we're in the same region. Furthermore, I'll definitely avenge Big Brother Su Huizi. It can be said that my relationship with Master Xing Qinzi is irreconcilable. As he spoke, Xiaofan's psyche swept over. A team of immortals has been discovered. Xiaofan's expression suddenly tensed up. There's a team of immortals about 20 li to our left. Black and White team of immortals. Black and White were in Black and White. But, let's wait. Xiaofan's expression was grave. This team is made up of more than 30 immortals, and the leader has more than 100,000 points hovering above his head. It's clear that he's controlling an immortal weapon. Yes, brothers, let's not act rashly. I'll use my psychic waves to observe this team of immortals. We'll make our move when we're sure and wait for the best opportunity to strike. The 8th region. The 2nd level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove, the 8th region. The 8th region was different from the 4th region where Xiaofan was. The 8th region was made up of mortals. At this moment, a total of 100 mortals were standing on a giant peak in the middle of the 8th region. Each of these 100 mortals had thousands of points hovering above their heads. Some even had tens of thousands of points. Moreover, each of these 100 mortals had faint immortal light around them. They had obviously refined some kind of immortal artifact. At this moment, among these 100 mortals, the Pure Rain sect master, Wu Lu, his eldest disciple, Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling, Dongfang Qin, and some other elites from Xiaohan's dimension were there. Wu Lu, Xiao Mingchu, and the others' temperament had changed. Compared to when they first entered the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove, Wu Lu and the others' temperament was much more outstanding. Moreover, their true qi cultivation was more condensed, as if their true qi was about to evolve into immortal qi. It seemed that in the battles and competitions in the 8th region, Wu Lu, Xiao Mingchu, and the others had benefited a lot and made great progress. Mingchu, we finally ended the 8th region qualifier. Tens of thousands of mortals fought and killed each other. In the end, only the 10 of us were left. It felt like a lifetime had passed. Sect Master, this experience has transformed our souls. Not only have we obtained some immortal artifacts, but we have also made great progress, Xiao Mingchu said with a smile. I believe that in less than 10 years, we may all usher in the immortal tribulation. Once we pass it, we can ascend and become immortals. Wu Lu also nodded with great certainty. Immediately, his expression changed slightly and he blurted out. I wonder how Xiaohan is now. At the mention of Xiaohan, Xiao Mingchu, Fang Ling, Dongfang Qin, and some of the mortals from Xiaohan's dimension gathered together with a face full of concern. Ha ha ha. At this moment, an elder from the Monster Hero Tower from Xiaohan's dimension laughed loudly. Everyone, why do we need to worry about Leader Xiaohan? Think about it, Leader Xiaohan is a mortal after all. He must be in the same region as the other mortals. In this world, there are countless mortal planes. Any mortal who meets Leader Xiaohan will be instantly killed. Therefore, Leader Xiaohan must have already distinguished himself from the preliminaries and entered the arena competition. Hearing this, Wu Lu and the others nodded. It seems that junior brother Xiaohan doesn't need to be like us. He can break through the encirclement with his own ability. Dongfang Qin laughed involuntarily. One should know that the reason why Wu Lu and the others could fight their way out of the 8th region was because of their own strength and talent. On one hand, it was because of their own strength and talent. Among the mortals, they were not ordinary. On the other hand, a large group of mortals from Xiaohan's dimension had been teleported to the 8th region, so everyone could quickly form a team. On the other hand, the mortals in this region all knew that Wu Lu and the others were from Xiaohan's dimension. Therefore, some of the real mortal experts in this region seemed to be trying to please Xiaohan. Therefore, they took the initiative to form a team with Wu Lu and the others. We should be able to meet Xiaohan in a while. Fang Ling smiled. At this moment, a trace of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's divine sense resounded in the 8th region. Oh, mortals of the 8th region, you have finally completed the qualifier and produced 100 precious places to enter the arena. Ha ha ha. How about it? Tens of thousands of people are fighting each other. In the end, only 100 people are left. Not bad at all. Although this qualifier is extremely cruel, but the 100 of you who survive will definitely benefit a lot. It is very likely that all of you have refined some treasures, right? Moreover, if I'm not wrong, all of you are only one step away from immortal ascension, right? Ha ha ha. Alright, I'll teleport all of you out now. Next, each of the 10 regions will have 100 places. There will be a total of 1,000 people who will participate in the arena. You 100 mortals should think about it carefully and see if you want to participate in the arena. As soon as he finished his words, a giant teleportation formation directly enveloped the 8th region. Time flies. Wu Lu and the other 100 mortals were teleported out. Outside. At this moment, Wu Lu and the others found themselves teleported to a platform. There were a total of 10 platforms floating in the void. Below the platforms was a misty fog that seemed to be an endless abyss. Looking into it, it made one's heart palpitate. At this moment, of these 10 platforms, 7 were already filled with people, be they mortals or immortals. On each platform, there were exactly 100 people, no more, no less. Above everyone's head floated a large number of points. Above the heads of mortals, there were usually tens of thousands of points. Above the heads of immortals, there were at most hundreds of thousands, and at least 100,000. Moreover, regardless of whether they were mortals or immortals, there was an immortal artifact's light circulating around their bodies. Boom! The 8th platform shook, and the misty light intertwined. In the next moment, 100 immortals had already appeared on the 8th platform. Among the 100 immortals, the one with the most ancient temperament was none other than Jia Lanzi. At this moment, Jia Lanzi's entire body was brimming with immortal qi. His entire aura was even more noble than before he entered the second level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove. Moreover, there were traces of extremely powerful immortal artifact fluctuations flowing around his body. Clearly, he had refined one, or even several extremely terrifying immortal artifacts. Above Jia Lanzi's head floated a total of 640,000 points. The immortals standing by Jia Lanzi's side were all extremely respectful and submissive to him. At this moment, Jia Lanzi was teleported out and arrived on the platform. Then, his gaze swept around. When he saw Wu Lu and the others, his expression changed slightly, and he immediately sent a voice transmission. Sect Leader Wu, you guys also passed the preliminaries? Congratulations, congratulations. It turned out that the 10 platforms represented the 10 regions of the preliminaries. After the competition in each region ended and 100 people were born, these 100 people would be teleported out and stand on the platforms. At this moment, there were a total of 8 platforms with 100 people standing on them. This meant that out of the 10 regions of the preliminaries, a total of 8 regions had already given birth to people who could enter the arena. When Wu Lu received Jia Lanzi's soul transmission, he immediately swept his gaze over and exclaimed in surprise. Brother Jia Lanzi, TSK, your temperament has undergone a transformation. I can feel that the immortal aura emanating from your body has become purer and purer. It seems that there are immortal talismans revolving around your body at all times. Brother Jia Lanzi, we only fought our way out of the mortal region, but you are competing with immortals. The difficulty we face is incomparable, ha 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 ha. Likewise, it took me a lot of effort to enter the final arena, Jia Lanzi said with a laugh. Then, Jia Lanzi asked directly, right, where is Brother Xiao? Sect Leader Wu, is Brother Xiao not in the same region as you? Xiaofan is not in the same region as us, Wu Lu answered immediately. Then, he quickly observed the people on the 8 platforms, trying to find Xiaofan. Jia Lanzi also immediately began to observe. However, neither Wu Lu nor Jia Lanzi could find Xiaofan on any of the platforms. Brother Xiao seems to have not fought his way out of the preliminaries. Jia Lanzi said immediately. However, at this moment, Xiao Mingchu cried out in alarm. Sect Leader. Something's not right. Wu Lu seemed to have noticed something. Sect Leader, the 10 platforms belong to 10 regions. Mortals are in one region, and immortals are in another. The number of mortals and immortals who entered the second level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure is roughly the same. In other words, mortals occupy 5 of the 10 regions, and immortals occupy the other 5 regions. And now, of the 8 regions and 8 platforms that have been decided, 5 of the platforms are filled with mortals. Only 3 platforms are occupied by immortals, and the remaining 2 platforms have yet to be decided. However, these 2 platforms should belong to immortals. At this moment, junior brother Xiaofan has not appeared on the 8 platforms that have been decided. In other words, junior brother Xiaofan, on the other side, Jia Lanzi also saw the clues and said in a hoarse voice. Could it be that brother Xiao and the immortals are in the same region? Brother Xiao did not enter the mortal region. To be continued, you. Chapter 639. In an instant, Wu Bai, Xiao Mingchu, and the others, as well as Jia Lanzi, were all shocked. Xiaofan didn't appear on one of the 8 platforms, so there were only 2 possibilities. 1. Xiaofan died in one of the 8 regions, and didn't get the final victory and enter the arena. 2. Xiaofan was placed in the remaining 2 regions that originally belonged to immortals. For the time being, these 2 regions had yet to be decided. This, all of a sudden, Wu Hao and Jia Lanzi became nervous. With brother Zhao's strength, it is impossible for anything to happen to him if he is placed in the ordinary area. It must be. Jia Lanzi looked at the 2 empty platforms and transmitted his voice to Wu Yu. I think brother Xiao is in the same area as the immortals, competing for the 100 spots to enter the arena. After he finished speaking, Jia Lanzi himself was shocked. Brother Xiao is just a mortal, but he actually wants to compete with immortals. In other words, brother Xiao is going to fight with tens of thousands of immortals. The scene of Xiaofan fighting with tens of thousands of immortals appeared in the minds of Wu Yi, Xiao Mingchu, and the others. Their scalps went numb, and they were too stunned to speak. At the same time, Xiaohan's 5 alien slaves, as well as Yan Lang, were standing on a platform reserved for mortals. They had also emerged victorious in the preliminaries and obtained a spot in the top 100. At this moment, they had also discovered Xiaohan's subtlety. Yan Lang also transmitted his voice to Wu Yu and Jia Lanzi. Immortal Jia Lanzi, Sect Master Wu, don't worry. My master will definitely overcome everything. Moreover, I can be sure of one thing. My master is not dead, he is still alive. Oh. Crow understood the relationship between Xiaofan and Yan Lang. This master-servant relationship was related to their souls. No matter what plane Xiaofan was in, or what spacetime it was, Xiaohan's life or death was. He could always be sensed by his servants. Hearing Yan Lang's words, Wu Li and Jia Lanzi heaved a sigh of relief and turned their gazes to the 2 empty platforms. The 4th zone. At this moment, in the middle of the mountain range in the 4th district, Xiaohan, He Zi, and Yu Yangzi all stood up. His expression was also extremely grave and stern. At the center of Xiaohan's brows, the eye of the divine eagle emitted a piercing light. This allowed Xiaohan to clearly see everything within a 20-kilometer radius. A team of immortals had appeared within Xiaohan's detection range. However, Xiaohan wasn't reckless. He wasn't in a rush to kill them. After all, the team was made up of over 30 immortals. It was a rather large number. Moreover, the leader of the team had clearly refined an immortal artifact. His strength was not to be underestimated. Big Brother Fish Rib, Big Brother Black and White, although we are eager to hunt, we have to consider everything before we act, in case we fail miserably. Xiaohan said cautiously. Yes. Fish Cripple and Black and White nodded at the same time. Xiaohan pondered for a few breaths before replying. Of course. We've been waiting for half a day now, and finally, a team of immortals has shown up. There's no way we're going to let this opportunity slip by. Big brothers, let's sneak up on them and ambush them together. The 2 brothers took out their magic treasures and directly attacked the leader of the team. His underlings were also assisting from the side. As long as we kill the leader who refined an immortal artifact, the rest of the immortals will be easy to deal with. Alright. What a brilliant plan. Capture the leader. Black and White cheered loudly. After the discussion, Xiaohan, Black and White, and Fish Rib left the mountain range and flew in the direction of the team of immortals. Step by step, they slowly approached the team of immortals. 20 li. 15 li. 12 li. However, just as Xiaofan's group was 8 li away from the team of immortals, something strange happened. Xiaofan's psyche suddenly trembled. Boom! Another team of immortals had appeared within Xiaofan's detection range. This team of immortals only had 10 people, but all of them had domineering expressions and an extremely arrogant aura. They were facing off against the team of over 30 immortals. The atmosphere on the other side suddenly became tense and intense. Wait! Xiaofan immediately waved his hand and stopped in his tracks. Black and White and Fish Rib were stunned. Brother Xiaofan, what's going on? Something strange has happened. Xiaofan's psyche locked onto the situation. Another team of immortals has appeared. There are 10 of them, but they're extremely arrogant. Xiaofan couldn't help but lick his lips. Heh! 2 big brothers, today, our chance has come. The sudden appearance of another team of immortals didn't scare Xiaofan. Instead, it excited him. Big brothers, we're going to get a lot more points, magic treasures, and refining power. Ha 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 ha. Moreover, we can be fishermen who reap the benefits of others in peace. Xiaofan laughed. Brother Xiaofan, you mean to wait for the 2 teams of immortals to kill each other? It'd be best if they turn the world upside down and become a bloody mess. Then, we can. Hee hee. Fish Rib couldn't help but laugh. Exactly. Ha ha ha. Brothers, let's get closer slowly. Xiaofan slowed down and gradually approached the 2 teams of immortals. At the same time, Xiaofan kept an eye on the situation over there. Ha 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 everyone, let's stop here, ha 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 ha. At this moment, the leader of the team of 10, a peerlessly enchanting and extraordinarily beautiful woman, let out a lovely laughter that was like the sound of a silver bell. Her appearance was mesmerizing. There were 260,000 points hovering above her head, and her entire body shone with the aura of a peerless celestial weapon. The 9 immortals under her command were fearless. In fact, a hint of greed could be seen in their eyes. The leader of the team of 10 was none other than the female celestial, Jiangzi. She was Xing Chenzi's lover. The leader of the team of more than 30 immortals, a round-faced, dark-skinned male celestial, stepped forward. There were more than 100,000 points hovering above his head, and he emitted the aura of someone who had refined a celestial weapon. However, the aura of his celestial weapon was far inferior to Jiangzi's. In other words, the quality of the celestial weapon that the round-faced celestial had refined was definitely inferior to Jiangzi. Therefore, although the round-faced celestial had an advantage in terms of numbers, he was still wary. He said with an ingratiating smile. Everyone, the 4th area will produce a total of 100 people who will enter the arena. Therefore, we don't have to fight to the death. Since we've met, why don't we call it quits? Let's give each other some leeway so that we can meet again in the future. Ha ha ha. The immortals behind Jiangzi laughed mockingly when they heard this. Hee hee hee, how childish. Crimson Purple's lips parted slightly, and then she murmured. There are more than 30 immortals, and the leader has more than 100,000 points. This is my opportunity. As long as I get rid of all of you, I should be able to rank among the top in terms of points. Moreover, the number of celestial weapons I'll obtain is uncountable. Don't be so overbearing. The round-faced celestial was enraged when he heard Jiangzi's words. You vicious woman, you're too bloodthirsty. Yes, you must have refined a high-grade celestial weapon. However, there are only 10 of you, and we have several times more people than you. If we really fight, it'll be a lose-lose situation. Do you think you'll have an advantage? I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. Ha ha ha. Jiangzi laughed sheepishly. A bunch of idiots. She said in a seemingly gentle voice as she flipped her right hand, and a communication spirit stone appeared in her palm. I'll let you die in peace. We're Big Brother Xing Qinzi's people. Ha ha ha. We'll control all the spots in the fourth area. The other immortals will all die. What? The son of Xing Qinzi's team? The round-faced immortal's expression changed drastically. His heart was filled with fear. The son of Xing Qinzi's team? On the other side, Xiaofan clearly heard the conversation between Jiang Zi and the round-faced immortal. At this moment, Xiaofan, Black-White, and Yu Yangzi were less than 4 li away from Jiang Zi and the other immortals. Big Brother Yu Yangzi, Big Brother Black-White, let's stop here. If we get any closer, they'll discover us. At this distance, they won't be able to detect our presence and whereabouts no matter what. Heh, I didn't expect you to be the son of Xing Qinzi's men. Then, kill. Xiaohan's killing intent exploded out of him. Let's get back some interest for Big Brother Su Huizi first. The son of Xing Qinzi's team? Black-White and Yu Yangzi were infuriated. They're about to fight. When they're excited, we'll make a sudden move. Big Brothers, use your immortal artifacts to deal with the other immortals. As for the female immortal and the leader of the son of Xing Qinzi's team, I'll kill them myself. Xiaofan said coldly. The round-faced immortal was caught between a rock and a hard place. He knew how powerful the sons of the stars were. Now that a battle was unavoidable, the round-faced immortal ordered the immortals under his command through spiritual voice transmission, attack. Kill all of these people. Leave none alive. At the same time, Jiang Zi ordered her subordinates to attack. Moreover, she had activated the communication spirit stone so that the son of Xing Qinzi could know her current situation. That way, if Jiang Zi was injured and forced to flee, the son of Xing Qinzi would be able to know her situation and rescue her as soon as possible. Jiang Zi was a meticulous person. Her plans were flawless. Hundreds of li away. The son of Xing Qinzi led 9 immortals in a sweep of the area. Suddenly, he flipped his right hand, and the communication spirit stone in his palm flashed and transmitted some information. Oh! Jiang Zi encountered a team of immortals, and she's about to fight them? The son of Xing Qinzi smiled. To be continued, you. Chapter 640. As expected, Xing Qinzi immediately learned of Jiang Zi's situation. Xing Qinzi didn't look worried at all. On the contrary, he was extremely confident and smiled. Jiang Zi will obtain a large amount of accumulated points to refine her Dharma treasure. Heh. There's no doubt about it, Brother Xing Qinzi, aren't you worried about Jiang Zi? The immortal team she encountered was several times larger than her team. This. The immortal behind him said. It's fine. The immortal weapon Jiang Zi refined is extremely extraordinary. Even if ordinary immortals also refined immortal weapons, they won't be able to stop Jiang Zi. Xing Qinzi said confidently. Finally, the team led by Jiang Zi and the team formed by more than 30 immortals engaged in a direct battle. First was the round-faced immortal. He made a grasping motion with his right hand, causing a palm leaf fan to appear in his hand. The fan was surrounded by immortal fire, and emanated immortal light. Numerous immortal characters and magical symbols swirled around the fan, causing the entire area to heat up. The air distorted and evaporated, causing mountain toppling, sea-draining heat. Immortal fire demon incinerating fan. This celestial artifact was refined by the round-faced celestial from hundreds of celestial artifacts in his dantian after he had obtained enough refining power. Its offensive power was so strong that it could even burn a level 3 true immortal into ashes with a wave of its hand. Puff, 2 of the 9 immortals under Jiang Zi's command were unable to dodge in time. Their bodies were set ablaze, and they let out heart-wrenching screams of agony. At the same time, the 30 immortals under the round-faced immortal unleashed their most powerful immortal killing moves. They attacked without any regard for their lives. Child's play. Jiang Zi's expression froze. Then, she quickly ignited an immortal talisman. Once the talisman was ignited, it quickly turned into ripples of light that spread out with Jiang Zi at the center, protecting her and her 7 immortals. This immortal talisman was a gift from Xingqianzi. Once it was burned, it could withstand an attack from a level 4 true immortal. It could also protect her companions. This immortal talisman was an excellent life-saving trump card. Back then, in order to obtain this celestial talisman, Jiang Zi had been molested by Xingqianzi several times in one night. She had done everything she could to please Xingqianzi. It could be said that she had paid a hefty price. Die. B*TCH. Die for me. Die, all of you. You damn things. Do you think you can kill us just because you're a son of the stars? Die. In order to survive. Even if Xingqianzi comes here in person, I'll fight to the death. The round-faced celestial's eyes were bloodshot, and he waved the fan in his hand again. A flaming hurricane swept out. Puchi. Jiang Zi and the other 7 immortals were enveloped by a hurricane that was filled with mysterious immortal runes. Bang! The light emitted by the life-saving immortal talisman suddenly burst into pieces. However, Jiang Zi and the others were unharmed. Fortunately, I managed to obtain such a life-saving trump card from Big Brother Xingqianzi. Otherwise, I would not have given my body to Big Brother Xingqianzi in vain. Jiang Zi secretly broke out in cold sweat. At the same time, the immortals around Jiang Zi began to shout. Immortal Jiang Zi. Quickly activate your immortal artifact and counterattack. Just as the round-faced immortal completed his attack with his immortal artifact, Jiang Zi immediately took out her own immortal artifact. Pfft! A ray of immortal light rose from Jiang Zi's brow. It spread out like a peacock spreading its tail, and turned into a pipa. An intense pressure covered the sky and earth, and rolled towards them. The round-faced immortal was forced to retreat. Oh no! Everyone, scatter! Run for your lives! This B*TCH's immortal artifact is very terrifying. It's not something we can defend against. Hurry! The round-faced immortal shouted in terror. The 30 or so immortals behind him immediately activated their movement techniques to escape. At that moment, the pipa emitted a crisp sound, and a circle of sound waves spread out like ripples. Space shook. Bang! 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 At least a dozen immortals under the round-faced immortal's command had their immortal bodies destroyed by the sound waves. Xiao, in an instant, countless rays of light shot into Jiang Zi's body. She had killed more than a dozen immortals and gained a lot of points in an instant. She had also obtained a large number of Dharma treasures and refining power. I'll send all of you to hell. Jiang Zi was overjoyed. With a thought, the pipa emitted another sound wave attack. The terrifying sound wave attack engulfed the round-faced immortal and his remaining subordinates. Soul-splitting pipa. B*TCH. I'll kill you. The round-faced immortal was hysterical. He waved his palm leaf fan repeatedly, and waves of flaming hurricanes swept towards Jiang Zi. However, the pipa above Jiang Zi's head continued to pluck and play, and the sound waves that could kill even God spread out. The flaming hurricanes created by the round-faced immortal were destroyed by the terrifying sound waves. They could not harm Jiang Zi at all. This was a battle between immortal artifacts. It was obvious that the immortal artifact that Jiang Zi had refined was superior in quality to the round-faced immortal's immortal artifact. However, this was not surprising. Jiang Zi had 260,000 points previously, which meant that she had obtained a lot of refining power, and the grade of the Dharma treasures she refined was also high. On the other hand, the round-faced immortal only had a few 100,000 points. The immortal artifact that he refined was definitely not as good as the one that had over 200,000 points. Generally speaking, the more points one had, the more powerful the immortal artifact would be. Clang! 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 The sound of the pipa became more and more rapid and rhythmic, showing a decisive and murderous aura. The round-faced immortal was forced to retreat. He waved his palm leaf fan frantically to block the sound wave attack. However, his momentum gradually weakened. Meanwhile, the round-faced immortal's subordinates exploded one by one. One by one, they exploded and died. The points above Scarlet Z's head quickly reached a terrifying 390,000 points. There were countless Dharma treasures in her body, and the refining power was surging. Ha ha ha, ants. It's useless, stop struggling. Jiang Zi was so pleased with herself that her pipa's sound poured out like raindrops. Bitch! Don't even think about it. The round-faced immortal was filled with fear and despair. He looked around and discovered that all the immortals in his team had died. Aside from himself, all of them had perished. More than 30 immortals had died to the Crimson Lute's immortal artifact, the melody. As for himself, he was only relying on his celestial artifact to barely hold on. He could be extinguished like a candle in the wind at any time. Roar! The round-faced immortal roared in agony like a dying beast. At that moment, bang! A hole was blasted open in the round-faced immortal's Dharma treasure. The round-faced immortal's Dharma treasure was destroyed after clashing with Jiang Zi's Dharma treasure. Ha ha ha, I told you not to resist. Ha ha ha, Jiang Zi giggled. The immortal chi in the round-faced immortal's fan gradually dissipated. It dimmed. This immortal flame demon incinerating fan. It would soon become a pile of scrap. On the star-sun's side. The son of the stars nodded in satisfaction. According to the message from the communication spirit stone, Jiang Zi has already killed the entire team of immortals. Only their leader is left, but he's about to die at her hands. Ha ha ha. That guy's immortal artifact was destroyed by Jiang Zi. Not bad, as expected of my woman. Jiang Zi's points will be close to mine after this battle. Good, very good. The son of the stars could immediately grasp the situation on Jiang Zi's side. Immortal Jiang Zi is truly powerful. She single-handedly destroyed a team of more than 30 immortals. The 9 immortals under the son of the stars said. It's no big deal. Jiang Zi's Dharma treasure is enough to kill most of the immortals in the 4th zone. However, if I hadn't given her a life-saving immortal talisman to block the attack of the immortal team's leader, the battle would have been different, the son of the stars said proudly. At the same time, Xiaofan observed the battle between Jiang Zi and the round-faced immortal without missing a single detail. Xiaofan nodded slightly. The black-white master and the fish rib immediately asked. Brother Xiaofan, how's the battle going? When do we make our move? That female immortal is indeed powerful. She has a Dharma treasure with boundless power, Xiaofan said quickly. She actually destroyed that team of more than 30 immortals all by herself. The immortal weapon in the hands of the leader of that team was destroyed. TSK, the leader of that team will die at the hands of that female immortal in no time. Xiaofan paused for a moment, then said harshly. Brothers, get ready to attack. The female immortal has 7 immortals watching from the sidelines. None of them have any Dharma treasures, so it should be easy to deal with them. After the female immortal kills the round-faced immortal, she'll instantly obtain a huge amount of points. At that time, she'll definitely be extremely pleased with herself, and her defenses will be extremely lax. Moreover, her immortal sense won't detect us spying on her at all. At that time, I'll kill the female immortal. That'll be the best time. That immortal artifact of hers is too powerful. I don't want to fight her head-on, so I can only launch a sneak attack and kill her when she's caught off guard. Alright. Brother Xiaofan, you'll be in charge of killing that female immortal. We'll use our immortal artifacts to kill the immortals under her. The Black-White Master and the Fish Rib answered. As soon as they finished speaking, the three of them adjusted themselves and prepared to pounce. Finally, after the immortal artifact was destroyed, the round-faced immortal no longer had anything to rely on to defend against Jiangzi. Clang! The immortal chi of the pipa that hovered above Jiangzi's head released an extremely melodious melody. The sound wave swept across. The ripple-like sound wave swept across the round-faced immortal's body. Pfft! The round-faced immortal's body exploded. The immortal's body shattered. At the same time, magnificent rays of light shot into Crimson Purple's body. More than 100,000 points were added to Jiangzi's body. Along with it came a dense array of immortal artifacts and a considerable amount of refinement power. Ha 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 ha! Jiangzi let out an almost maniacal laughter. She turned her right hand and shouted into the communication spirit stone. Big Brother Star Child. I did it. I've successfully killed a team of immortals and gained endless benefits. Ha 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 ha! The leader of that team was killed by me. I didn't let you down. I didn't let you down. Moreover, I'm extremely grateful to you. I can't wait to throw myself into your arms so that you can love and cherish me. Crimson Z's voice gradually became softer and softer as she transmitted the message. She seemed to be acting coquettishly and seducing at the same time. She seemed to be seducing him to the core. Ha 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 ha! The Son of Stars immediately said after receiving Crimson Z's transmission, ha 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 ha! Jiangzi, come back to me now. Ha ha ha! I'm in the mood too. I want to pamper you a few times now. Ha ha ha! Come back. The Star Child's breathing grew heavier. To be continued. Chapter 641. Jiangzi was indeed a rare beauty in the world. Her flirtatious words had bewitched an immortal like Xingqianzi to the point that he wanted to have sex with her immediately. Although they were separated by a few hundred miles, Jiangzi's current seductiveness was on full display. She bit her lips and spoke in a gentle voice. Ha ha ha! Alright, big brother Xingqianzi, wait for me. I'll return to your side and let you, The immortals behind Jiangzi looked at each other speechlessly. However, at this moment, boom, the atmosphere in this area suddenly changed drastically. Three ferocious and violent murderous auras came from afar and attacked in an instant. Before Jiangzi and the immortals under her command could react, their vision blurred and three figures flashed before them. Xiaofan, Black and White Child, and Yu Yangzi were charging towards them. This time, it was completely unexpected. When Jiangzi and the other immortals were annihilating the team of immortals, they had actually released their immortal senses to closely observe the situation around them. After all, although they were powerful in the fourth region, they did not rule out the possibility of other teams of immortals hiding in the dark and launching sneak attacks. However, the immortal senses of Jiangzi and the other immortals could not cover a large area. Jiangzi and her subordinates only noticed them when Xiaofan and the other two approached. Who? Jiangzi was shocked and instinctively screamed. Over at Xingqianzi's side. Xingqianzi was already prepared to fight a few hundred rounds with the returning Jiangzi. Even the 9 immortals around Xingqianzi knew what was good for them and were prepared to leave. However, at this moment, the communication spirit stone in Xingqianzi's hand transmitted a violent and chaotic fluctuation of immortal qi. Waves of battle intent and murderous intent surged. It penetrated through. What? Xingqianzi was shocked and furious. Who? Jiangzi, Are you being ambushed? At the same time, Jiang Zi's terrified scream came from the communication spirit stone in Xing Qinzi's hand. Who? Xiaofan activated the boots of divine speed. He seemed to ignore the space of a few miles and instantly appeared in front of Jiang Zi, throwing out a punch. The power of the immortal body. Condensed to the limit, 40 immortal dragon power gathered on Xiaofan's fist. This punch had just blasted out when the air in all directions was sucked dry, forming a large vacuum zone. A terrifying and bone-chilling aura instantly enveloped crimson purple. Jiang Zi could even feel the scent of death. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Zi instinctively resisted. The Pipa immortal artifact floating above her head suddenly trembled and was about to burst forth with an invisible sound wave that could kill people. However, Xiaofan's speed was as fast as a ghost. The moment the immortal artifact of the lute was about to send out a sound wave to protect its owner, Xiaofan's fist had already landed on Scarlet Z's body. Xiaofan's attack speed was slightly faster than Crimson Z's immortal artifact. However, such a high-quality immortal artifact was not to be trifled with. Although the Pipa immortal artifact could not send out a sound wave before Xiaofan's fist landed on Crimson Z's body, in an instant, the Pipa that was originally floating above Crimson Z's head disappeared and shot out from her dantian to block Xiaofan's fist. Bang! Xiaofan's fist landed directly on the Pipa. 40 immortal dragon power. A portion of the power passed through the Pipa and landed on Crimson Z's body. The Pipa immortal artifact was also very hard. Xiaofan's fiend godlike punch landed on the Pipa immortal artifact, but it didn't shatter. Instead, tiny cracks appeared on it. Pfft! Crimson Z spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Although the punch did not directly land on Crimson Z, a portion of the power still passed through the Pipa and entered her body, destroying her internal organs and vitality. Crimson Z was heavily injured, her immortal chi dissipating as she spat out a mouthful of immortal blood. Losing control of her mind, the Pipa immortal artifact fell to the ground. She could no longer control it. Crimson Z fell 100 meters away. Xiaofan moved and chased after her. No! Don't kill me! As she retreated, Crimson Z's right hand clutched tightly onto the communication spirit stone. That was her last hope. Pfft! Crimson Z spat out another mouthful of immortal blood. Her face was pale and she could no longer gather immortal chi. She struggled to stand and looked at Xiaofan. It's you. Xiaofan. The mortal Xiaofan. The evil creature who once disobeyed Big Brother Xing Qinzi. Why did you come to the fourth region? At the same time, boom. 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 Immortal light scattered everywhere. The Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi each took out their own immortal artifacts and killed the remaining 7 immortals under Crimson Z in an instant. Yu Yangzi and the Black-White Child's success was swift with their sneak attack and immortal artifact attack. Crimson Z watched as the immortals she led were slaughtered by Xiaofan and the others. She felt incredulous. In the fourth region, it had always been Xing Qinzi's team that swept through the other immortals. Other immortals rarely launched sneak attacks and assassinations. Whoosh whoosh, the Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi flew over from the left and right and stood beside Xiaofan. Brother Xiaofan, they're all taken care of. Only this woman is left. Xiaofan took a deep breath and walked towards Crimson Z step by step. Xiaofan saw the spirit stone in Crimson Z's right hand and guessed that it was an immortal artifact communication spirit stone. Had the spirit stone in your hand should be able to communicate with Xing Qinzi, right? Xiaofan smiled confidently. Xiaofan knew that Xing Qinzi already knew of his current identity and whereabouts. However, Xiaofan wasn't afraid. Instead, he didn't kill Jiang Zi for the time being. He purposely gave Jiang Zi time to seek help from Xing Qinzi. Xiaofan knew that Crimson Z was as beautiful as a fairy and was Xing Qinzi's favorite. Now that this beauty's life was at stake, Xing Qinzi would probably go crazy. Xing Qinzi had killed Xiaohan's friend, Su Huizi. Xiaohan had thought of all ways to take revenge on Xing Qinzi. Now that he had tortured Crimson Z to death in front of Xing Qinzi's 3 corpses would definitely explode in anger and vomit blood. This was Xiaohan's official declaration of war against Xing Qinzi. Of course, Xiaohan had also expanded the Eye of the Divine Eagle to its maximum range. Once he discovered Xing Qinzi's men approaching, Xiaohan would immediately retreat with the black and white sages. At this moment, Crimson Z's expression surprisingly stabilized. She continuously coughed up blood and glared at Xiaohan with a slightly ferocious expression. Xiaohan, listen to me. I am Big Brother Xing Qinzi's woman. If you dare to touch me, you will die a horrible death. At this moment, Xing Qinzi had already heard the conversation between Xiaohan and Crimson Z through the communication spirit stone. Roar! Xiaohan. It's that mortal Xiaohan. He's hiding in the 4th division. He's mingling with us immortals. He launched a sneak attack on Crimson Z. Damn it! I'm going to exterminate him. Xing Qinzi's expression was extremely distorted. In his rage, the immortal qi around his body surged violently. It was as if the surrounding space was about to be destroyed. Crimson Z, where are you? Tell me where you are. Although the communication spirit stone could be used for communication, it could not let Xing Qinzi know Crimson Z's exact location. After all, the 4th division's immortal sense could only cover a few miles. Now that Crimson Z and Xing Qinzi were at least a few hundred miles apart, Xing Qinzi had no way of knowing Crimson Z's location. As for Crimson Z, she was suppressed by Xiaohan's aura and could not communicate with Xing Qinzi through the communication spirit stone. Oh. You are Xing Qinzi's woman? Interesting. Xiaohan smiled faintly. Xiaohan, don't make a mistake. Crimson Z shrieked. Now, Big Brother Xing Qinzi is like the sun at noon in the 4th division. If you kill me, Big Brother Xing Qinzi will definitely capture you and kill you. Moreover, when you reach the outside world, Big Brother Xing Qinzi will destroy your plane and kill all your friends and family. The more Crimson Z spoke, the louder her voice became. He, Xiaohan shook his head and laughed, but he still did not attack immediately. The more Xiaohan did not attack, the more pleased Crimson Z became. Alright, Xiaohan, I see that you have obtained quite a lot of points. You are immortal, but you are able to compete with immortals and are not at a disadvantage. This shows that you are also a talent. How about this, the 3 of you join me? My team has lost 9 immortals anyway, and I need more people. After you join me, you will definitely be able to stand out in the 4th division. Moreover, Xiaohan, I know that there is some animosity between you and Big Brother Xing Qinzi. But don't worry, as long as you join me, I will plead on your behalf. Ha 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 ha. Before Crimson Z could finish, Xiaohan threw his head back and laughed, interrupting her incessant chatter. Shut up. Alright, your points are not bad, and you have countless Dharma treasures in your body. After killing you, I will probably be able to obtain enough power to refine them, hee. How dare you? Xiaohan. How dare you kill me? Big Brother Xing Qinzi will definitely not let you off. Crimson Z's voice was fierce. The next moment, bang. Xiaohan did not waste any more words. He did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. With a violent punch, he shattered Crimson Z's delicate body. Xiaohan. You killed this seat's woman. I will definitely kill you. I'm going to torture and kill you and everyone related to you. Even Jiaolanzi can't protect you. Xiaohan. I will not rest until you die. Xing Qinzi let out a heart-wrenching roar. Chapter 642. Xiaofan did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex. Even a peerless beauty like Jiangzi was destroyed by Xiaofan with a single punch. The communication spirit stone in Crimson Z's hand fell into the air, and the son of the stars' hysterical roar could be heard from it. Xiaofan grabbed the communication spirit stone and transmitted his voice. Son of stars, the game between you and I has just begun. You probably think that you have already secured the 100 spots in the 4th region. But, wait and see. After saying this, Xiaofan exerted his strength and crushed the communication spirit stone. Boom! Following this, Xiaofan took out his storage ring and collected the pieces of the immortal corpses floating in the air, saving them for future use. Brother Xiaofan, let's leave now. Black White and Yu Yangzi came up to him. Let's go. Xiaofan did not hesitate. He used his movement technique and left with Black White and Yu Yangzi. The three of them flew in the air. Xiaofan's mind rippled and he activated the Eye of the Divine Eagle. At this moment, the points above Xiaofan's head had skyrocketed to a shocking level. Jiangzi had single-handedly destroyed a team of 30 people. The team leader had more than 100,000 points, and all of them were taken by Jiangzi. In addition, Jiangzi already had more than 200,000 points. In an instant, Jiangzi's points were approaching the 600,000 mark. Now, it was only natural that Xiaofan killed Jiangzi. Everything that belonged to Crimson Z was taken away. It was equivalent to Jiangzi fighting to her death. But it was all for Xiaofan. In addition to his original points, the points floating above Xiaofan's head had exceeded 600,000, approaching 700,000. With such a huge number of points, Xiaofan's dantian was filled with thousands of immortal artifacts and dharma treasures. There were offensive, defensive, special, all kinds of immortal talismans, immortal art manuals, elixirs, there were many of them. Xiaofan was now a moving treasure trove. However, Xiaofan also took a quick look around. There were so many treasures here. There were so many treasures that were suitable for his current state. Of course. If Xiaofan were to ascend and become a real immortal, then these treasures would come in handy. Compared to the treasures, Xiaofan was more concerned about the power of refinement. What did not disappoint Xiaofan was that at this moment, the power of refinement stored in Xiaofan's dantian was like a vast ocean. It was also like a volcano filled with magma and energy that was about to erupt. Boom! 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 A huge amount of refinement power surged within Xiaofan's body, shocking everyone. With so much refinement energy, it won't be a problem to break the restriction of the Supreme Battle Will Pill. When the time comes, I can use this Supreme Mental Power Immortal Pill to refine my mind and soul again. The solidified mental power planet will become more and more perfect. And my saber intent will also increase my attack power. Xiaofan was wild with joy. Soon after, Xiaofan said to the Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi, "Brothers, we're not in a hurry to hunt. Let's follow the old rules. We'll find a secluded place to settle down and digest what we've gained today." The Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi agreed with a smile. Xiaofan had gained a lot from this hunt, but the Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi had also benefited a little. It should be noted that the 7 immortals in Jiangzi's team had all been killed by the Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi together. These 7 immortals had followed the Son of Stars for a long time, and had killed many other immortals and gained a lot of benefits. Although none of the 7 immortals had refined immortal treasures or magic treasures, they were only a hair's breadth away. Each of them had tens of thousands of points. They also had a lot of magic treasures in their bodies. After splitting the 7 immortals' gains, the Black-White Child and Yu Yangzi's points were close to 200,000. "Brother Xiaofan, let's find a place to cultivate," the Black-White Child said with a smile. "With the newly obtained power of refinement in my dantian, I can probably try to refine a second magic treasure." "That's right. The immortals under the Son of Stars are all fat sheep. It felt so good to kill them just now. My points increased by tens of thousands. Ha ha ha. Yu Yangzi laughed. Yes. Xiaofan nodded slightly. There must be a lot of immortals under the Son of Stars command. If we kill them one by one, the benefits will be indescribable. Ha 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 ha. That Son of Stars is so smug and arrogant. It's still unknown who will emerge victorious. The three of them chatted and laughed. Soon, they reached the sky above a vast ocean. Waves rolled. Brothers, let's go to the bottom of the sea. Xiaofan said with a smile. It would be harder for their tracks to be exposed if they went to the bottom of the sea. After all, it was more difficult for an immortal's immortal sense to search the bottom of the sea. Puff! 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 The three of them dove into the sea and instantly sank to the bottom. The Son of Stars was so furious that he couldn't be any more furious. Frenzied rage and hatred burned him. In fact, Master Xingqianzi's behavior had become extremely deranged. Hong hong hong, immortal energy exploded everywhere. Wherever the Son of Stars passed, mountains were flattened, rivers evaporated, and plains were riddled with craters. It was a scene of devastation. The 9 immortals following Master Xingqianzi were cowering in fear, not daring to approach Master Xingqianzi, fearing that he would vent his anger on them. The 9 immortals also communicated with each other via soul transmission, trembling with fear. This is bad. This is going to stab the heavens. Jiangzi was Big Brother Star's personal pet, and he doted on her a lot. Now she's been killed. This is a direct affront to Big Brother Star's dignity. It's not that simple. You should know that Big Brother Star has gone to great lengths to train Jiangzi. Jiangzi already has a lot of points. Then, he annihilated the team of immortals. His points were off the charts. I can't believe Xiaofan got his hands on so many points and so many treasures. This is intolerable. But it doesn't matter. Now that Xiaofan has offended Big Brother Star, he's dead for sure. The Son of Stars vented his rage for a full 2 hours. Only then did he calm down. His entire body went from moving to stillness, almost not moving an inch as he floated in the air. His face was ashen, and the muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched non-stop. In a low voice, he gritted his teeth and repeated Xiaohan's name. Xiaofan, Xiaofan, good, very good, then. The Son of Stars glanced out of the corner of his eye at the 9 immortals cowering to the side. All right, come over here. Yes. Big Brother Star. The 9 immortals hesitated for a moment, then braced themselves and walked over to the Son of Stars. Xiaofan must die, the Son of Stars said coldly. I'll recall the remaining 8 teams and order them to surround and kill Xiaofan in the 4th region. Also, all of you, listen up. Do your best to hunt down Xiaofan. Also, spread my message to every corner of Region 4. Let the other immortal squads know that I'm going to offer a bounty. A bounty? The 9 immortals were stunned. Due to the death of Jiangzi and her immortal subordinates, there are only 90 people left in our team of 100. That means we have 10 slots to enter the arena. Listen up, send out my order. If any immortal in the 4th region captures Xiaofan and hands him over to me, I will grant him a slot to enter the arena. After a pause, the Son of Stars continued. Also, spread the word that Xiaofan has at least 500,000 points, and a few thousand magical items. If anyone is able to capture Xiaofan and bring him back for me to torture, not only will they be able to enter the arena, but they will also be able to take all of Xiaohan's points and magical items. The eyes of the 9 immortals lit up at his words. Big Brother Star, are you saying that whoever captures Xiaofan will get hundreds of thousands of points and several thousand treasures? This. The eyes of the 9 immortals burned with greed. Yes, the Son of Stars said with a wave of his hand. We have to capture Xiaofan at all costs. You're tempted too, aren't you? Alright, you can go as well. As long as you capture Xiaofan, I'll fulfill my promise. However, just do as I say and spread the news. Humph. There are at least a few thousand immortals in the fourth realm. I refuse to believe that Xiaofan will be able to escape their wrath. Master Xing Chen's expression was as fierce as ever. That's right. Night. In the fourth region. A bonfire burned brightly in a kernel. An immortal with a sword on his back stood with his hands clasped behind his back on a boulder. Immortal chi swirled around him like dragons and snakes. 310,000 points hovered above his head. He was also a man with an illustrious battle record. There were more than 30 immortals standing in the valley. Just now, the Son of the Stars ordered his subordinates to spread a piece of news. The Sword Immortal's voice was extremely sinister. It said that a mortal named Xiaofan has snuck into the fourth realm. He has more than 500,000 contribution points and thousands of magical treasures. What? The immortals in the call exclaimed in shock. Boss, how is that possible? A mortal has more than 500,000 points. The Sword Immortal flicked his fingernails and said, starting tomorrow, we'll search for Xiaofan. Yes. Boss. In the fourth region. In the middle of a fertile farmland. Boom. The soil split open, and a dozen black-robed immortals burst out of the earth. Each of them had more than 200,000 points, and all of them had signs that they had refined immortal weapons. Capture Xiaofan, the leader of the black-robed immortals said succinctly. The Son of Stars seems to have a deep grudge against Xiaofan. He's searching for him at all costs. Once we capture him, we'll be able to make a deal with him. All right. Capture Xiaofan. In just one night, the Son of Stars had spread the news of Xiaofan's bounty to the entire fourth region. Thousands of immortals had learned about it. Moreover, the news that Xiaofan had accumulated 500,000 points and several thousand treasures in his dantian had been exaggerated. Every immortal was envious, and the desire to capture Xiaofan grew in their hearts. They quickly put their desires into action. To be continued. Chapter 643. In the middle of a vast ocean. At the bottom of the sea. In this 10,000-meter deep underwater world, countless fishes were living and reproducing. The beautiful corals were glistening. Ibdu. At this moment, Xiaofan, Yu Yangzi, and He Zi were sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the sea. Immortal chi was rising from their bodies. The immortal chi was flawless and extremely glorious, attracting countless fishes and prawns. Under the illumination of the immortal chi, the beautiful scenery of the ocean was revealed. Yu Yangzi and He Zi were using the power of refinement stored in their dantian to refine an auxiliary immortal treasure. Yu Yangzi refined a pair of battle boots that could move through the earth. In a life-and-death situation, they could use it to escape. He Zi refined 5 one-time-use lightning strike talismans. These talismans could severely injure a level 3 true immortal. As for Xiaofan, the power of refinement stored in my dantian is surging and extremely huge. Now. Xiaofan's mind moved. The bottle of supreme battle will pills trembled slightly. There were still 2/3 of the restrictions on the supreme battle will pills that had yet to be broken. However, with Xiaofan's current control of the power of refinement, it was as easy as flipping his hand to break the restrictions and obtain this bottle of mental strength divine medicine. Boom! Xiaofan divided a small portion of the power of refinement and charged. Puchi! A crisp sound rang out. The restriction outside the supreme battle will elixir cracked. At the same time, Xiaofan flipped his right hand and the bottle of supreme battle will pills appeared in his palm. The bottle was simple and unadorned, engraved with some mysterious patterns. Within the bottle, There were a total of 10 divine medicines for tempering the soul and mental strength. Every single one. All of them were beneficial to the soul and mental strength. They were extremely nourishing and strengthening effects. These were immortal pills. Moreover, the quality of the immortal pills that appeared in the treasures of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao was definitely extraordinary. These pills that specialized in tempering the soul and mental strength were extremely rare and precious even in the immortal world. Of course, this did not mean that the value of this bottle of Supreme Battle Will pills was higher than some immortal treasures. Pills that strengthened the soul and mental strength. It was indeed precious, but only immortals who cultivated the soul and psyche would be able to see the miraculous effects. Ordinary immortals who didn't cultivate the soul and psyche wouldn't need this bottle of pills. Not bad. Xiaofan held the medicine bottle in his hand. The solid mental energy star in his sea of consciousness seemed to be attracted by an irresistible temptation. It began to show signs of restlessness as waves of throbbing throbbed. I don't think I've used an immortal pill yet. Let's directly strengthen the soul and mental strength. Today, let's try out the profundities of the immortal pill. Xiaofan smiled with satisfaction. He gently uncorked the bottle. Immediately, a wave of heavenly qi floated out of the bottle and entered Xiaofan's nostrils. It also seeped into Xiaofan's pores, making him calm and relaxed. It was as if he had been reborn. Comfortable, Xiaofan sighed. Brother Xiaofan, this is a bottle of excellent quality immortal pills. Black and White Child and Yu Yangzi had obtained the auxiliary type immortal weapons that they wanted through the power of refinement. They looked towards Xiaofan. Xiaofan nodded slightly and said. Big brother Yu Yangzi, big brother Black and White Child, please protect me. I'm going to cultivate for a while. Alright, no problem. Black and White Child nodded and reminded them. Brother Xiaofan, there are about 30 days left until the 100-day deadline of the 4th district qualifier. You must pay attention to the time limit. I know. Xiaofan nodded. Then, Black and White Child stood up and spread their immortal senses to sense the surrounding situation. If there was any sudden situation, they would immediately take out their immortal weapons to protect Xiaofan. Xiaofan also opened the divine eagle's eye and looked at the situation above the sea. The sea was quiet. This allowed Xiaofan to cultivate peacefully. Let's begin, Xiaofan murmured. Then, he took out the first Supreme Battle Will pill from the bottle. This Supreme Battle Will pill was the size of a longan. It was the color of a colored glaze and had a fragrant aroma. On the surface, it looked ordinary. However, if one used their mental strength to penetrate it, they would discover that the pill seemed to contain many strange and dazzling worlds. In these worlds, there seemed to be the world of mortals. Time was like a song. There were emperors and generals. There were all kinds of people. There were dynasties and hegemony. This is too magical. Within this small pill, there seems to be countless cycles of life. There is joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. There are spiritual illusions. If one's soul is slightly weaker, when one's mental strength penetrates into the pill and is affected by the medicinal effects, they might go crazy immediately. Just like that, Xiaofan had great confidence in this Supreme Battle Will pill. He had reason to believe that this magical pill could help him break through the bottleneck and break through the shackles. He would be able to cultivate the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique with irresistible force. This extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique was one of the countless immortal talismans that were used to seal the demon egg. It was a heaven-defying cultivation technique. It was a mystical spiritual technique. This cultivation technique did not belong to the mortal world. It was a celestial technique. This extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique was made up of a total of 28 sets of profound and profound mental finger techniques. The 1st to 10th sets of mental finger techniques belong to the cultivation of transforming mental strength. The 11th to 20th sets of mental finger techniques belong to the cultivation of liquefying mental strength. The 21st to 28th sets of mental finger techniques belong to the cultivation of solidifying mental strength. Every time one completed a set of finger techniques for this, extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique, the strength of one's soul would transform by a bit. Finally, once one reached the 21st finger technique, they would produce a supreme state of solidifying mental strength. Solidifying mental strength, this was a step that allowed mental strength to turn from liquid to solid. The mental strength in the sea of consciousness condensed into a ball of mental strength. This ball of mental strength was like a star in the brain. As long as one cultivated to this point, even if their physical body was killed, they would not be affected at all. They could use the ball of mental strength to seize another body. Or perhaps they could reconstruct their physical body. The spirit did not die. Then it would never die. It was completely invincible. Moreover, at this point, one's spirit could travel through space and travel unhindered through the universe. They were not afraid of cosmic storms, cosmic black holes, and other physical attacks. Furthermore, when one's mental strength was strong enough to reach a solid state, one's brain was like a star. Even a plane could be blown apart. Using mental strength to blow up a plane. And now, Xiaofan's cultivation of the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique, S28 finger techniques had coincidentally reached the 21st finger technique, and he had reached the state of solidifying mental strength. Of course, Xiaofan's solidifying mental strength was still at the initial stage. When he was attacking the enemy, the solidified mental strength could imitate all kinds of weapons that were close to the quality of immortal weapons. Killing the enemy. However, this kind of solidification was not enough to unleash too much power. He had to complete the 28th finger technique of the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique, and make this set of cultivation technique perfect. Only then would Xiaofan's mental strength be strong enough to traverse the universe, travel through space, not fear cosmic storms, and not be swallowed by cosmic black holes. Right now, although Xiaofan's mental strength was solidified, if he released his mental strength into the vast universe, his soul would definitely scatter. Why did it say that Xiaofan had to cultivate the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique to the perfect stage of the 28th finger technique before he could open the door to the ancient saber realm and cultivate the saber intent to the godly state? That was because when one's mental soul left their body, if it was not sturdy enough, it was very easy to get lost in the vast universe and be shattered by the chaotic cosmic energy flow. For example, Xiaofan had already faintly seen the door to the saber realm during his few cultivation sessions, but his soul could not get close to the door to the saber realm. There were too many dangers along the way. If he was not careful, his soul would be destroyed. To Xiaofan, continuing to cultivate the 22nd finger technique of the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique, as well as the subsequent finger techniques, was something that he had to do. However, when Xiaofan completed the 21st finger technique, all his foundation was completely exhausted, and he was unable to make a breakthrough to the 22nd finger technique. Not only was he unable to make a breakthrough, but he was also far from it. Cultivating the 21st mental energy finger technique was fraught with difficulties. One had to complete at least 1,000,000 profound and obscure hand gestures in order to achieve perfection. Moreover, the completion of each hand gesture required a huge amount of accumulation and energy. When Xiaofan first completed the 21st finger technique, it was also full of ups and downs. If it was not because he fought with Kid, Naga, and the other geniuses, and swallowed their spiritual soul attacks, Xiaofan would not have had the foundation to break through to the 21st finger technique. However, breaking through to the 22nd finger technique was even more terrifying. This was because the 22nd finger technique was made up of tens of millions of hand seals. The difficulty of completing each hand seal, and the accumulation required for each hand seal, were all abnormal to the point of being ridiculous. At that time, Xiaofan was also prepared to break through to the 22nd finger technique without stopping, but he was unable to accumulate the foundation needed to break through to the 22nd finger technique. With the current strength of Xiaofan's soul, even if he refined the mental storm in the universe, the hallucinatory demonic realm, or even Kid and Naga's spiritual soul attacks, it would be difficult to obtain a satisfactory foundation. The boat rises with the tide. The higher the level of the soul, the greater the accumulation required. It could be said that in the secular world, there were no resources that could allow Xiaofan to continue to cultivate the extinguishing heaven and earth spiritual technique, and he would not be able to break through to the 22nd finger technique. However, if he obtained an immortal pill, then the situation would be different. An immortal pill that strengthened spiritual soul power. Very quickly, Xiaofan gathered his thoughts, and the mysterious supreme battle pill in his hand slowly entered his mouth. Xiaofan's eyes lit up as he muttered to himself. Right now, my spiritual soul is already stronger than most immortal souls. If I cultivate my soul again, and break through to the 22nd finger technique, or even the 23rd or 24th finger technique, my soul will ascend again. What kind of scene would that be? Xiaofan's heart was filled with anticipation. Impressively, after the supreme battle pill entered his mouth, it instantly turned into a huge spiritual shock wave, directly entering Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. Cultivate. Xiaofan immediately formed the first gesture of the 22nd finger technique. To be continued. Chapter 644. Xiaofan swallowed a supreme battle pill. A violent spiritual storm and spiritual sea swept into Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. Puchi. That crazy spiritual power immediately attacked the solid spiritual power planet in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. Although the solid spiritual energy star was extremely sturdy, it was still a little dry. But at this moment, the sovereign battle pellet had turned into waves of spiritual energy that crashed into the solid spiritual energy star, nourishing, solidifying, and strengthening it. This tide of psychic power, when broken down, was a drop of dark gold, extremely dense psychic liquid. Almost every drop of psychic liquid's quality was countless times better than the psychic storm and psychedelic demonic land that Xiaofan had refined. Ibdu. This kind of nourishment was simply indescribable. It was impossible to find such a treasure that nourished the soul and spiritual power in the human world. An immortal pill was indeed an immortal pill. Now, Xiaofan's solid spiritual power planet was immersed in a sea of spiritual power. That refreshing, clear, and ethereal feeling was indescribable. Boom, hey, dazzling, golden spiritual power halo directly seeped out from Xiaofan's forehead. In the blink of an eye, the ocean that Xiaofan was hiding in was dyed with a heavenly color. All the underwater creatures and plants were attracted by it and gathered around. Densely packed whales, sharks, and all kinds of fish rushed towards the area where Xiaofan was. However, it was not chaotic, these marine creatures. Under the illumination of spiritual power. It was magnificent. Moreover, they seemed to have undergone some kind of evolution, as if they had intelligence. The marine plants also seemed to have absorbed the spiritual power and started to grow. Some corals that were a few meters long actually grew at a speed visible to the naked eye and grew tens of meters long. The colors were also brighter and full of vitality. In short, with Xiaofan as the center, the spiritual light had dyed the entire sea into a heavenly immortal world. It was as beautiful as a painting. This is. Black and white and fish stem were completely stunned. Brother Xiaofan is cultivating. What cultivation technique is he cultivating? Fish stem stared at Xiaofan. This is definitely not a cultivation technique of the mortal world. It's not a cultivation technique of mortals, it's definitely an immortal technique, and it seems to be an immortal technique of the spiritual power, yes. It should be a spirit and soul immortal art. The black and white masters nodded in agreement. The shock that Brother Xiao gave us is simply too great. Even a mortal like him is stronger than us immortals. Not to mention that he's cultivating with the help of the immortal pill. He's bound to reach a higher level. Pausing for a moment, the black-white man said in a low voice. Once his soul power becomes stronger, Brother Xiaofan's cultivation speed will be faster than ours when he ascends to become an immortal. His future is limitless. At this moment, Xiaofan was in a state where he was completely indifferent to both praise and humiliation. He was in a supreme state where there was no one around him. His hands formed a series of hand seals. The difficulty of the 22nd spiritual finger incantation was extremely high. It was made up of extremely difficult and obscure hand gestures. Every single gesture required a tremendous amount of foundation as a guarantee. However, this sovereign battle will pellet was enough for Xiaofan to attempt the 22nd spiritual finger technique. Gradually, Xiaofan's hands began to dance in a dazzling manner, like two nimble butterflies. Following the movements of Xiaofan's hands, immortal talismans that seemed to be made of jade coiled around Xiaofan's body like dragons and snakes. The spiritual light that emanated from Xiaofan's sea of consciousness became more and more condensed, more and more intense. It had a feeling of being indestructible and indestructible. The black and white masters and the fish stem were watching from the side. However, they did not forget to protect Xiaofan. Be careful, the black and white master reminded. Brother Xiaofan's cultivation seems to have reached the most crucial moment. He must not be distracted. He must not be distracted. This is also a crucial moment. He cannot be taken advantage of by others. We must defend with all our might. I understand, the fish stem said cautiously. At this moment, Xiaofan's attempt at the 22nd spiritual finger technique was very smooth. The movements of his hands were synchronized with his spiritual power. With the help of the immortal pill, he did not encounter any bottlenecks during the cultivation process. It was like a hot knife through butter. With every completion of the hand seal, the spiritual power in his sea of consciousness would be consumed slightly. The solid spiritual power planet would become more solid and dazzling. 3 days later. Finally, the nourishment that the supreme battle will pill brought to Xiaofan's spiritual power was completely exhausted. Not a single drop was left. At the same time, the tens of millions of hand seals for the 22nd spiritual finger technique were completed. He had successfully completed the 22nd spiritual finger technique. The solidified spiritual power was even more profound. However, this successful breakthrough actually gave Xiaofan a feeling of returning to his natural state. Not only did his aura not change much, it became even more reserved, even more hidden. Phew, Xiaofan let out a breath of turbid air and stood up. He smiled at the black and white master and the fish stem. Brothers, thank you for protecting me for the past 3 days and 3 nights. Oh. Brother Xiao, did you succeed? The black and white master and the fish stem hurriedly asked. Even with the vision of immortals like them, they were unable to determine Xiaofan's condition. However, occasionally, if they looked closely at Xiaofan's eyes, they would feel a sense of loss, as if they were about to be swallowed by Xiaofan's eyes. Indistinctly, the image of the planet and universe appeared in the depths of Xiaofan's eyes. In terms of the spiritual power realm, I had a little breakthrough. However, it is still not enough. The cultivation technique that I am cultivating is still far from reaching the great perfection realm, Xiaofan said humbly. At this moment, although the solid spiritual power planet in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness did not change in size, its density had increased by 10 times. In other words, Xiaofan's soul spiritual power had increased by 10 times as compared to before. This was extremely terrifying. Moreover, as his spiritual power increased, Xiaofan's natal saber qi, saber intent, and lethality had also increased by several times. Now, let me test out my current combat power. The corner of Xiaofan's mouth curved into a smile. First, Xiaofan closed the divine eagle's eye and only used his soul spiritual power to radiate outwards. Its detection range had actually reached a radius of 50 miles. This was extremely shocking. Ordinary immortals, including Xingqunzi, who was like a crane in a flock of chickens, in the 4th region, their immortal senses could only cover an area of 3 to 4 miles. Before this, Xiaofan's soul spiritual power was comparable to an immortal's. However, in the 4th region, which was only a few miles, he had to use an auxiliary immortal treasure like the divine eagle's eye to increase the detection range to 20 miles. However, at this moment, Xiaofan did not need to use the divine eagle's eye. His soul spiritual power could already cover a radius of 50 miles. Great progress. This is great. After completing the 20-second spirit finger technique, the strength of my soul and spiritual power had indeed increased by more than 10 times. The detection range of 50 miles is enough to ensure that I am undefeatable. Xiaofan's face was glowing. In the next moment, the immortal qi between Xiaofan's eyebrows flashed. The divine eagle's eye had already appeared in Xiaofan's palm. Big Brother Black White, Big Brother Fish Stem, this is an auxiliary investigative immortal treasure. The will restriction on the exterior has long been washed away by the power of refinement. Now, you can refine it. You only need to drip a drop of blood on it to recognize its owner and wash away the trace of my spirit that I attached to the divine eagle's eye, Xiaofan said with a smile. Now, Xiaofan's spiritual power was far enough to replace the divine eagle's eye. The divine eagle's eye can increase the detection range of spiritual power to 20 miles, Xiaofan added with a smile. Black and White Child and Fish Stem were shocked. They did not stand on ceremony. Fish Stem said, Big Brother Black White, you have a calm personality. You can refine and control the divine eagle's eye. Alright, Black White did not waste time and took the divine eagle's eye from Xiaofan's hand. Brother Xiaofan, after I refine and control the divine eagle's eye, I will increase the detection range of my spiritual power. I will protect you and make sure nothing goes wrong. That's exactly what I mean. Xiaofan smiled and nodded. Then, he willed it. Buzz, a strand of spiritual power was extracted from Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. It transformed into a dagger and appeared in Xiaofan's hand. This dagger was radiant and overflowing with color. It had a jade-like color and there were some profound patterns on it. Big brothers, take a look at the quality of this dagger. Xiaofan smiled and handed the dagger formed from his spiritual power to Black White and Fish Stem to appraise. The two immortals took the dagger. This. Black White's eyes lit up. Brother Xiaofan, this is an immortal artifact, right? Although it is not an extremely high-quality immortal artifact, in the immortal world, it is considered very good for a level 1 or level 2 perfected immortal to possess such an immortal artifact. Black White actually thought that the dagger formed from Xiaofan's spiritual power was an immortal artifact. Hee, Xiaofan laughed. Suddenly, the dagger in Black White's hand twisted a few times and transformed into a ray of spiritual power. Xiaofan kept it back into his sea of consciousness. Hiss. This is. Black White and Fish Stem were shocked. This dagger was formed from a strand of my spiritual power, Xiaofan said with a smile. Previously, after Xiaofan broke through the 21st spiritual finger gesture, the weapons formed from his spiritual power could only be close to the level of an immortal artifact, or at least reach the level of a low-grade immortal artifact. But now, a random dagger formed from his spiritual power was of the same quality as a level 1 or level 2 perfected immortal artifact in the immortal world. If Xiaofan was in battle, he could instantly use his spiritual power to form thousands of such daggers and shoot them at the same time. Ordinary immortals would be turned into beehives. Now, I can kill immortals with just my spiritual power without relying on the power of my immortal body. Xiaofan was very confident. To be continued, You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.